media capital of the world.
To participate in the general public comment period, please call now at 818-238-3335. For any scheduled public hearings, please call when prompted to speak if you want the comment to be part of the record. Speaking times will be determined by the total number of public comment cards and callers in the queue at the start of each public comment period. For 1 to 20 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 3 minutes. For 21 to 39 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 2 minutes. And for 40 plus total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 1 minute. No additional comment cards or calls will be accepted once the public comment period begins.
Interpreters are available for assistance with in-person public comment. Please connect with them if you are in need of services. Hay servicios de interpretación disponibles para asistir con los comentarios públicos en persona. Por favor, habla con un intérprete si necesita estos servicios.
Եթե տեղում մեկնաբանություն եք անում թարգմանիչի կարիք ունեք, միացեք թարգմանչի հետ օգնության համար։
Good evening and welcome to a joint meeting of the Burbank City Council and the Housing Authority on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Please join me for a moment of reflection. This moment is intended to begin our meeting with a positive and collective support for our beloved community. The City Council welcomes everyone joining us this evening. We encourage you to take a moment to reflect on our community and the work we will be doing tonight. Although each of us has our own unique reasons for being here, we are united in our passion for our wonderful city. As we pause, let us consider our individual contributions and what they mean to those around us. Let us find solace in knowing that by working together with a shared spirit of community and partnership, we will always act responsibly for the betterment of Burbank. Also, I'd like to ask you to join me in observing a moment of silence for Artie Varma, a beloved first grade teacher at Bret Harte Elementary School, whose life was tragically taken, and for her daughter, Mira Varma, as she fights to recover. Artie dedicated herself to nurturing and inspiring young students, and her loss is deeply felt by her school community and all who knew her. We hold their family, friends, neighbors, and all those impacted in our hearts during this heartbreaking time. May we honor Artie's memory, pray for Mira's healing, and stand together as a community in compassion and strength. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fine. How are you, Madam Mayor?
I'm good, thank you. Will you please conduct the roll call?
Councilmember Anthony?
Here.
Councilmember Perez?
Here.
Councilmember Rosati?
I am here.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Here.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will be 5 periods of public comment tonight. Members of the public may comment in person or by telephone during the general public comment period, and must submit cards or call before the general public comment period begins. The first public comment period is for general public comment on any matter concerning city business and/or any agenda item. If you are here in person and wish to speak during general public comment, please submit a yellow public card to the city clerk, to address the council. If you'd like to participate in the general public comment over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the general public comment period begins, at which time no additional calls will be taken. If you'd like to participate in public comment for the public hearing over the phone, please call the same number at 818-283-3335. 238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the public comment period begins, at which time no additional calls will be taken. An additional public comment period will be available following the reports to council, each report to council this evening. Interpreters are also available for assistance with public comment. We have Spanish and Armenian interpreters here with us this evening, sitting in the front row. Please connect with them if you're in need of services, and feel free to walk over to them and ask them over here on the side. We have 6 announcements this evening.
The following are announcements for April 21st, 2026. Burbank Tech Talks is hosting its next event on April 22nd at 5:30 p.m. at Cannon Burbank, located at 3400 West Olive Avenue. Panelists will discuss what the new media career landscape looks like. This gathering will bring together professionals across Burbank's creative ecosystem to share insights on navigating the industry, developing new skills, and building sustainable careers in a rapidly changing environment. For more information and to RSVP, please email econdev@burbankca.gov. Celebrate Earth Day at the 2nd Annual Earth Day celebration on April 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at McCambridge Park. Enjoy a bike obstacle course, guest speakers, a community resource fair, and more. This event will also feature the city's annual Tree City USA ceremony. This special event is presented in partnership with Burbank Water and Power, Burbank Public Works, the Sustainable Burbank Commission, and the Burbank Eco Council. Join us as we come together to celebrate sustainability and our shared commitment to a greener Burbank. To learn more about this event and to register, visit burbankca.gov/Earth Day. You are invited to drop off expired, unused, or unwanted medications for safe disposal during National Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday, April 25th. This drive-through event will be held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the rear parking lot of the Burbank Police Department. Please note that illicit substances, liquids, needles, or sharps are not accepted. For more information, visit burbankpd.org. Spring into love! The Burbank Animal Shelter is offering 50% off adoption fees for all of our amazing animals until May 2nd. Whether you're looking for a cuddly cat or a playful pup, your new best friend is waiting. Visit the Burbank Animal Shelter, located at 1150 North Victory Place, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come meet them today and help get them home. The Burbank Fire Department and the Burbank Police Department are hosting Fire and Police Service Day on Saturday, May 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Police and Fire Headquarters. This is a free event with live demonstrations, station tours, CPR safety, and more. For more information, please contact the Burbank Fire Department at 818-238-3473 or visit their website at burbankca.gov/fire. On April 23rd, the county will begin mailing out official sample ballot booklets for the June 2nd, 2026 statewide primary election. On May 4th, voters will begin receiving their vote-by-mail ballots. Please ensure your ballot is not mixed in with other mail. The City Clerk's Office would like to remind residents that the last day to register to vote in the June 2nd, 2026 election is May 18th. Voter registration forms are available in the City Clerk's Office and at Burbank libraries. You can also register to vote online at lavote.gov. This concludes the announcements for the evening. Thank you.
announcements. Looks like we have a busy few weeks ahead of us, a lot to do. Thank you all for being here tonight. We have a number of presentations tonight. I know many of you are here for public speaking, and please excuse our time that we take for these announcements or these presentations, but they're really important for our community, so I hope that you enjoy them as well. All right, our first presentation tonight is a proclamation declaring April 12th to 18th, 2026 as National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week in the city of Burbank. Yay. Raise your hand if you've ever called animal control before. Yeah, see? Yeah, they're great, aren't they? Yeah. So let's see, please help me in welcoming Stacy Wood-Levin, Senior Animal Control Officer with the Burbank Animal Shelter. Yay. And the whole team. Yeah, please come on up, everybody. Sounds great. Come on up. So I'm going to read this proclamation to you, and I would love to give this to you, but would you like to say a few words before we read off the proclamation?
Just a few words. I have never worked with a team like this before that are so unbelievably dedicated to the Burbank residents and their safety, so thank you. These are the people that make it happen, absolutely.
Great. Yes. Definitely a round of applause, for sure. All right, so animal control is a really important part of our community. Even though we are what I call urban, we have quite a bit of urban aspects to our city, even though we're a suburb. We are close to the hills, and we have animals, but we also have home animals and all kinds of animals that need attention in our city. So it's really important that you guys are here and really appreciate you being here. So I'm going to read a few of these whereases. Whereas animal control officers provide a wide range of services related to pets and the public. They work long hours in dangerous situations sometimes, in inclement weather, and sometimes on perilous terrain. They sometimes take on the role of social worker, risk their lives as emergency responders, mitigate conflicts among community members. I bet there's some stories there. Yeah, and much more. Animal control officers are dedicated to educating the public about living peacefully with wild animals indigenous to the city of Burbank and surrounding areas, keeping residents' safety first and foremost. They instruct and encourage the public to practice hazing techniques to condition wild animals to remain fearful of humans, resulting in decreased encounters and safer situations. And whereas animal control officers perform educational presentations at schools of all grades, as well as for adult organizations. They bring awareness to the community of the multiple services that the animal shelter offers, including licensing, vaccine clinics, adoption opportunities, wildlife rehabilitator services, foster programs, and so much more. And you only have 4 of you? 3 of you? 5 of you? Okay, I was going to say that's a lot of work, but still, I'm sure it's a lot of work with as many people as you have. Now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim April 12th to 18th, 2026 as Animal Control Officers Week and thank the city's animal control officers for their patience, diligence, and compassion. A second presentation this evening is the presentation of a proclamation declaring April 19th to 25th, 2026 as National Library Week in the city of Burbank. Woo! From animals to libraries. Please join me in welcoming Darren Borders, Chair of the Library Board of Trustees, to the podium. Yay! All right, grab the proclamation. 1 second. Thank you. All right. So Darren, as representative of the library board and the library system, I'm honored to present this proclamation this evening. The Burbank Libraries hold a special place in my heart, Our libraries provide free access to knowledge, technology, and lifelong learning while serving as welcoming spaces where residents of all ages can connect, grow, and thrive. My family, we practically grew up in the library. When we moved here, one of the first things we did was go to the Buena Vista Library when it used to be on the old location before it moved to the new location. It was little. Now it's bigger. The library currently has a program going on, and this is one that I want to highlight, is going on called the One Book, One Coast, which is a huge book club that brings California, Washington State, and Oregon together for a shared community reading program. And the selected book is called They Call Us Enemy by George Takei, which is a powerful reminder of the importance of protecting civil liberties, especially during moments of fear and uncertainty. In the book, Takei shares his family's experience with the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II, reflecting on the consequences of prejudice, discrimination, and erosion of constitutional rights. So the book very much ties into the proclamation we presented in February about the Japanese American evacuation, and is a valuable community read because it encourages empathy, civic awareness, and deeper commitment to ensuring that history's mistakes are never repeated. And the library brings this to us. So this is one of the many, many programs the library has, and a unique one that I think is valuable to highlight. So thank you, Darren, for being here to receive this. Would you like to say a few words about the library?
My script is much shorter than yours, but thank you so much. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, members of staff, and members of the public. My name is Darren Borders, as mentioned. I'm the current chair of Burbank's Board of Library Trustees. As a lifelong resident with over 40 years officially being a part of our libraries, it is an honor to be here. I would like to thank the mayor and council for your continued support of our libraries. I just have a couple people to thank, or groups to thank. I was proud to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony and launch of our new bookmobile last week. Thank you. The Board of Trustees would like to thank the Friends of the Burbank Library Organization for their generous support of the bookmobile and so many other programs. Our library could not perform at the highest levels without support of our friends. I would also like to offer my appreciation for the staff of the Burbank Public Library. I know firsthand what they do day in and day out and how hard they work. From the part-time person emptying a book drop all the way up to the director, each of you deserves to be recognized for what you do. It took 40 years for me to say that. All right, so my colleagues and I, there are some in the audience, I'd like them to join me, because we're so excited about our new Central Library and Plaza project. We appreciate the commitment the city management and council have to the design and development of a world-class library for Burbank. The new Central Library will be generational and transformational project for downtown and the Burbank residents. Again, thank you for this proclamation and recognizing Library Week every year.
Awesome, great, thank you. Yay, wonderful. Yeah, there's a lot going on at the library. If you haven't been to the library, now's the time to go. And to tell you how important the library is in our community, we have 2 members of previous library board members on council now. So that just tells you how important the library is.
You are overrepresented. You're overrepresented on the council right now.
That's right, that's right. All right, I'm just going to read, I have like 10 whereases. I promise I'm only going to read a few. But these ones are very valuable to read if you want to ask Darren to read them later. They're all, I'll read, you want me to read all, he wants me to read all 10. I would love to, but I have 5 presentations tonight, so I'm going to read a few, but they are available. So whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas Burbank is home to 3 library locations, the Central Library, Buena Vista Library, and the Northwest Branch Library, as well as a 4th Mobile location, as in Bookmobile. I think that's official 4th location now, yes. While along with the online branch, online, so that's the 5th location is our online branch, yes, that serve over 100,000 people annually. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. I love that theme, that's great. Now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim April 19th to 25th, 2026 as National Library Week. And during this week, I encourage all residents and those who are not residents who want to come to Burbank to visit the library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that bring joy and discovery. Wonderful. And you want to bring everybody up for the picture?
3, 2, 1.
All right. Our third presentation this evening is a presentation of the proclamation declaring April 29th, 2026 as Denim Day in the city of Burbank. Please join me in welcoming Christine Ramos with Family Service Agency and Gloria Salas from Zonta. Big round of applause. Okay. Do I have anything to say? No. All right, thank you for joining us today. In addition to our proclamation this evening, the city will also be lighting up City Hall and Burbank Water and Power Building on Wednesday, April 29th in honor of Denim Day. And what color are we doing? Blue. Blue, that makes sense. It's Denim Day. All right, so I'm going to read this proclamation, but it looks like you might have a few words to share with the group. Let's do that first. Let's have your words, but then we'll do proclamation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and the Burbank community. On behalf of Family Service Agency of Burbank, I wanted to sincerely thank you for this proclamation recognizing Denim Day and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We are deeply grateful for the city's continued commitment to support survivors and raising awareness about an issue that affects individuals, families, and our entire community. Denim Day serves as a powerful reminder that there's no excuse for sexual violence and no circumstance where a victim is to blame. What began as a protest against injustice has become a global movement, one that calls on all of us to stand in solidarity with survivors and to challenge harmful myths and attitudes. At Family Service Agency of Burbank, we see firsthand the courage it takes for survivors to seek help and begin healing. Through counseling, advocacy, and education, we're committed to creating a safer, more knowledgeable community where every person is treated with dignity, compassion, and respect. And of course, on April 29th, Denim Day, we encourage everyone to wear denim, to start conversations, be part of the change. Together, we can build a culture of respect, equity, and safety for all. While we had planned to have our annual group denim art activity this week, current unanticipated demands on our space are not allowing that. However, if anyone would like to schedule individual time, please go ahead and contact us at the office. To get, well, we already said that part. Okay, thank you again for standing with survivors.
Just very quickly, many of you know that the Zonta Club of Burbank area has been here in Burbank since 1936, and we have said no to gender violence. Every November through December 10th, City Council very graciously lights up City Hall in orange to remind us that there is no excuse for gender violence. But as Chris said, what started as a local campaign to combat victim blaming and destructive myths surrounding sexual violence has since grown into the longest running sexual violence prevention and education campaign in history. The first Denim Day in Los Angeles was in April 1999, and it's continued every year since. By encouraging people everywhere to wear denim as a visible act of solidarity, Denim Day challenges the harmful attitudes that normalize and perpetuate sexual violence, amplifies survivors' voices, and renews our collective commitment to building a world free from gender-based harm. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that information. And thank you for having this every year, this event and recognition. So for the proclamation, whereas the month of April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, calling attention to the fact that sexual assault and harassment is widespread and harms our community. And whereas the Denim Day movement is a worldwide effort that started as a grassroots protest against an Italian Supreme Court decision in which a sexual assault conviction was overturned because the victim was wearing tight jeans at the time of the attack. It's true. Whereas Denim Day encourages everyone to stand in solidarity with survivors of sexual violence and speak up when they hear comments that blame victims or make light of sexual harassment and assault. And whereas the City of Burbank strongly supports the Family Service Agency of Burbank and the Zonta Club of Burbank area and their efforts to heal victims and educate and train the community. Now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, April 29th, 2026 as Denim Day, and urge all community members to wear jeans on Denim Day to help spread awareness about the physical and emotional trauma that accompanies sexual assault and to show our support for survivors in our community. Zonta members want to, hello, one more time. Zonta members want to come down? That's the wrong direction. Zonta members want to come down and take a picture. They can't hear me on the video. Okay, so one of you is going to hold this. And just by the way, Zonta, anyone can be a member. You don't have to be a woman. You can be any gender. You can join and any age. Thank you. Thank you. We're almost there. Getting there. Okay. Next up is a presentation of a proclamation declaring April 2026 as Records and Information Management Month in the City of Burbank. Please join me in welcoming our city clerk. Ms. Clark is going to present this one.
Actually, I am going to let our new records manager, Eric Massis, who's in the audience with Jessica Viato, our records technician, present this item.
Oh, wonderful. Here you go.
Welcome, Eric and Jessica.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Eric Massis, and I'm honored to speak with you tonight as the city's of Burbank's new records manager. It's a privilege to join you as we celebrate city's first official Records and Information Management Month. This recognition highlights a vital area of the city's operation. Across every department, our employees create, manage, and safeguard the records that document the city's action, protect the legal and financial rights of our residents, and preserve Burbank's beautiful history. This year has already shown the strength of our citywide records program. Since January, we handled over 800 public records requests, ensuring residents have prompt access to information. As part of our spring cleanup effort, we securely destroyed 330 boxes of eligible city records, improving efficiency and reducing storage space. And we are currently finalizing the city's revised retention schedule, which will modernize our practice and support consistent compliance across all departments. These accomplishments are possible because of our dedicated records liaisons and departmental staff who partner closely with the city clerk's office. I want to express my serious appreciation to all city employees who support records management. Thank you for your professionalism, diligence, and continued dedication to the public. And thank you, Mayor Takahashi and council members, for recognizing the work and proclaiming April 2026 as Records and Information Management Month. Thank you.
All right. Excellent presentation. The city clerk's office works hard, very, very hard, so much deserved proclamation. Whereas records and information are vital resources necessary for the effective operation of government, and whereas the City of Burbank is committed to responsible stewardship of public information, and whereas it is important to honor the vital contribution of staff who support records management citywide and continuously work to improve records processes, support transparency, and preserve the city's documentary heritage. Now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Records and Information Management, or RIM, Month, and encourage all city departments to participate in RIM Month activities, including spring records cleanup efforts, awareness initiatives, and the promotion of sound records management practices. I think that deserves a round of applause. This is the last one, I promise. Our final presentation this evening is a presentation of a proclamation declaring April 24th, 2026 as Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day in the city of Burbank. Please help me in welcoming Sarkis Simonian from the ANC. Hold on. You see where you're from. Sarkis is from multiple places. Let's see where he says it's from. From Armenian National Committee America. For the picture? Want to do it for the picture? Yeah. Okay. So do you have a few words you would like to share?
Yes, I just want to thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council Member and the city staff actually who works diligently on this. Thank you very much. I want to invite our board member, Antranik Charchafian, to say a few words on behalf of ANCA.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members. Thank you very much. Every family in Burbank of Armenian ancestry is a descendant of genocide survivors from 1950 and 1923. It's really painful to describe or even listen to the events of the genocide. And what is really troublesome that is the genocide is not over. Just about 2.5 years ago, about 120,000 Armenians in Artsakh, after being held captive in a blockade for a year, starved, and finally they were attacked and forced to leave their homes and flee out of their ancestral lands. The genocide is not over, and we have to continue to commemorate and to raise awareness so that all righteous people in the world can join us in condemning crimes against humanity. I'd like to thank the Council for adopting the proclamation for the genocide, and also thank you for the Genocide Memorial. I hope you can proceed with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So there was a Armenian Genocide Memorial event this weekend that I was unable to attend. So I wanted to share my remarks tonight for what I would have said if I were there. So as we commemorate the Armenian Genocide Day of Remembrance, we stand with the Armenian community in Burbank and across the globe to honor the memory of the 1.5 million lives lost during the Armenian Genocide. We recognize that this is a historical event that created a profound rupture in the fabric of a people and created a trauma that echoed through generations and continues to shape the identities of our neighbors, colleagues, and friends in our community. As a mental health professional, I understand that historical atrocities of the past, especially those that are still open wounds, have a ripple effect into the present with the effects of generational trauma. Acknowledging this pain is critical for collective healing. Burbank is a home to vibrant Armenian American population whose contributions have enriched our city's culture, economy, and spirit. As we reflect on the past and also look toward fostering the well-being of our community today. Thank you for being here and for highlighting this important moment of remembrance. So now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day in recognition of those who suffered as a result of the Armenian Genocide. I urge all citizens to join the Armenian community to overcome prejudice and inhumanity through education, appropriate observance, vigilance, and persistence, and call upon the Turkish government to resolve with representatives of the Armenian nation all grievances stemming from the genocide.
Since you speak Armenian. She's learning.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Phew. You made it. Good job, everybody. All right, so we're going to move on to the rest of our meeting. City Manager, do we have anything to report tonight?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I do have one item. So it was brought up a little earlier tonight during Library Week, but in case you missed it, last week we do have a bookmobile. So I'm going to call up our Library Services Director, Eric Lashley, and he's got some slides, and he's going to tell you all about it and how we're going to deploy it throughout the community.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Eric Lashley, Library Services Director. Tonight I wanted to give an opportunity to give an update on our new bookmobile program. As Justin mentioned, we had our ribbon cutting last Tuesday on April 14th at the Buena Vista Branch Library. Tonight, members of the Library Board of Trustees and Friends of the Library came to receive the proclamation recognizing National Library Week. I'd like to echo Darren Border's words of thanks to the Friends of the Library for their gift of funding the new bookmobile. My mother always told me it was good to have friends. She also said friends with money was even better. Our bookmobile is more than just books. It's a way for us to connect with our community in new and meaningful ways. The bookmobile will bring joy of reading, access to technology, and a full library services directly to neighborhoods, schools, senior citizens, parks, and community events. The public can get their first glimpse of the bookmobile at the Earth Day event Saturday, April 25th from 10 to 2 p.m. at McCambridge Park. Please stop by, and you can actually check out books that day. Starting this May, we will begin its first routes reaching families and residents who may not be able to visit the library in person. We can't wait for everyone to explore it. I want to give a shout out to my staff for their hard work in getting the bookmobile ready to launch. I really appreciate their enthusiasm. So happy National Library Week. And again, there's a photos there of the interior, and there's the mayor with the book. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lashley. And you forgot to mention that you drove that. You went to, I forget which state it was?
I didn't drive it back from Iowa. No.
Oh, you didn't drive it back from Iowa. I heard the rumor that you did, so now, but I want to keep believing. I want to keep believing you did. All right. Our next item is a presentation of an update on the status of the city's specific plans. I welcome Ms. Amanda Landry from the Community Development Department to begin the presentation. Welcome, Ms. Landry.
Hi, good evening. May I have the presentation, please? Okay, thank you. My name is Amanda Landry. I'm a principal planner with the Community Development Department Planning Division, and I'm here with my colleagues, principal planners Leonard Bechet and Daniel Villa. Tonight, we'll be providing the City Council with a brief status update of the specific plans, including the Media District specific plan, the TOD Downtown Burbank specific plan, the Golden State specific plan, and the Burbank Rancho Neighborhood specific plan. The demand for housing is a matter of statewide importance as well as a critical local issue. In response to the demand for local housing, in 2019, the City Council established a goal to facilitate the construction of up to 12,000 dwelling units by the year 2035. And the city has since focused its efforts for housing along the I-5 corridor, downtown, the Golden State area, and the Media District. In addition, the state has mandated, through the Regional Housing Needs Allocation process, that the city must facilitate the development of up to 8,772 dwelling units by the year 2029 as part of its sixth cycle housing element obligations. The specific plans are a really important tool for the city to demonstrate that we can fulfill our housing obligations and respond to this situation. All city departments play a role in facilitating the development of housing, and CDD's role in this effort is focused on the implementation of adopted policies and the development of new land use policies. A key city planning goal is to comply with the state-mandated housing land use requirements and address local needs. To better connect the community's vision with the city's efforts to facilitate the development of housing and comply with the state mandates, each plan has focused on community engagement and coordination with other city departments. The extensive public outreach for the specific plans has helped the city to understand and better capture the community's vision for the plan areas and develop policies to meet the goals generally to preserve and protect existing neighborhoods to the extent possible, facilitate affordable and workforce housing, align with transit opportunities, and finally to promote locally serving commercial uses that support the long-term economic viability of the city. This slide depicts the collective status of the specific plans, and we are currently on track to complete these efforts by the end of the year. Because the Media District Specific Plan, the MDSP, is the first in line for council consideration, tonight we will provide more detailed information about its status and next steps, which the other plans will follow suit as they are undertaking a similar development process. The MDSP's Program Environmental Impact Report, the draft version of it, has been prepared and it was circulated. The draft EIR includes analysis and mitigation measures that will help the city to facilitate future housing production. This effort will also streamline CEQA review and ensure that the planned growth can be supported by the city's infrastructure. As mandated by state law, the draft EIR for the MDSP and the other specific plans includes analysis for a preferred project alternative, as well as several additional development alternatives. In this case, the purpose of looking at these various alternatives is to perform a stress test on the potential growth alternatives to understand the city's capacity to support development and understand possible limitations. After the initial circulation of the MDSP draft EIR concluded on March 23rd, we received extensive comments from the community, and most of them were pertaining to infrastructure, and this required city staff to reevaluate our long-term infrastructure capacity planning. Based on the additional analysis on long-term infrastructure capacity, we determined that an additional development alternative would be necessary to respond to the extensive comments. This alternative is deemed the sustainable infrastructure alternative. This alternative considers the cumulative impact of growth and development and the city's realistic development capacity with respect to the ongoing specific plan efforts. As part of the development of the sustainable infrastructure alternative, we found that the growth assumptions for the MDSP needed to be adjusted, and we refined the development potential for both residential and non-residential uses, staying within the general site boundaries that the planning effort identified as the most suitable for growth. However, the development standards and goals and policies and implementation items noted in the draft Media District Specific Plan are still applying. Because this new alternative is being considered, we are mandated by state law to recirculate the draft EIR, and details about the alternative will be available when this is recirculated. Moving forward, this alternative will also be included in the draft EIRs for the other specific plans. This will ensure consistency across policy documents. As I mentioned, we're preparing to recirculate the draft EIR, after which we will proceed with the preparation of a final EIR. And as part of the preparation of the final EIR, the project team will prepare other mandatory environmental findings, and if there are any significant impacts, we'll prepare a statement of overriding considerations. Then the EIR will be reviewed by the Planning Commission, followed by the City Council, and a decision will be made. If a specific plan is adopted, the project team would file a notice of determination with the county and the state. The MDSP process is informing the collaborative citywide efforts and has established a revised path forward for the other ongoing specific plans to ensure, again, that the plans will be able to streamline project reviews, streamline permitting, and streamline environmental review, meet the state housing and land use mandates, and facilitate the affordable and workforce housing, and again, to preserve and protect existing neighborhoods to the extent possible, promote locally serving commercial uses that support the city's long-term economic viability, and allow growth to occur within the capacity limits of our local infrastructure. For those interested in speaking with the specific plan managers, their contact information is noted on the slide. And this concludes our presentation, and all the specific plan managers are here to answer questions.
Great. Thank you for the update. Council, do you have any questions for staff? No?
I just wanted to thank staff for coming today and city manager for providing those updates. We did commit to the community that we will continue providing updates so there's no surprise and full transparency what's going on. So I do thank you for coming and doing this.
Anyone else? Yes, council member.
Ditto.
Ditto. I agree as well. Just one quick question. For the media district plan, the next step is to go to the planning board, or is that?
So the next step would be to recirculate the draft EIR and then go to the planning commission, followed by the city council.
Okay. Do we have any general sense of when it will show up at the planning commission?
So the recirculation will take a minimum of 45 days, so the soonest we could get there is probably late June, early July.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, agreed. Thank you for the update, providing us that information. There's a lot going on with the specific plan, so it's hard to keep up, so really appreciate the kind of summary of how it's going. Thank you. Okay. All right, next up, Mr. City Attorney, will you please report on our closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, and for the benefit of the public, the City Council met at 4 p.m. this afternoon to discuss several items in closed session, all matters of litigation. The City Council discussed the item listed as number 3, conference with legal counsel concerning anticipated litigation with the city as plaintiff in one case pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. The City Council took no reportable action this evening. There were two other items agendized tonight. There were both matters of existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in the matter of Marissa O'Brien versus City of Burbank, a labor employment matter, and in the case of Alec Allman versus City of Burbank, a trip and fall case. Council did not get to discuss those items. They will be re-agendized for a future meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you for the summary. All right, now is the time for general public comment. I will be calling out the speaker's name as well as the person who is next in line to speak. In order to keep public comment moving in a timely fashion, we have designated a seat in the front row for speakers who are next up. A timer is available at the podium, and this is also the last call for anyone who needs an interpreter or those staffs will be released for the evening in a minute. Persons may choose to use the first period of public comment to address an agendized report, but will not be able to speak on that item following this segment. Please state your name for the record. And have our interpreters had any requests for assistance tonight? No? All right, well, thank you for being here and offering to translate, and you are free to enjoy your evening. All right, the general public period is now beginning and no additional cards or calls will be accepted. So Madam City Clerk, showing you guys, Madam City Clerk, how many public comment cards do we have for general public comment and how many callers do we have?
We have no callers and we have 40 cards.
Okay, 40 cards.
1 minute each.
Wow, just hit the mark. All right. So 40 speakers means that everybody gets 1 minute each. All right, 1 minute. Yeah, just hit it. All right, so our first speaker is Angela Gonzalez Torres, followed by Tyreek Ship. Welcome, Ms. Gonzalez Torres.
Thank you so much. Amazing. I'd like to start by saying I believe ARC, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, has opened a facility here in Burbank, and I'm here because that is so awesome. I've seen the work they've done. They really show up for students like the ones I work really hard to support with real impact and a community that believes in second chances, even if some of our scholars and youth weren't offered a first chance. ARC helps people thrive and survive, and their work is really important now more than ever because people like me who have been doing restorative justice work for nearly a decade are stretched thin right now with budget cuts and all. However, I do want to say that the pushback on the federal and local level is precisely because our work is working, so please join us. The facility would be or is close to where I work at Pasadena City College, where we support people transitioning from prison to university. And right now, housing instability, transit justice, and bureaucracy is really getting in the way of people achieving upward mobility. This is why I am also running for Congress to represent this community, and the work that ARC does is really important. So thank you in advance for your care, time, and support.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is, so we have 40 speakers tonight, and I'm going to have a sense that you want to clap for each of them. Do this instead. This helps. Okay, thank you. All right, next up is Tyreek Ship, followed by Kent Mendoza. Welcome, Mr. Ship.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Tyreek Ship. I'm the Policy Coordinator at the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm also a LA County Probation Oversight Commissioner, but I'm speaking in my capacity with ARC. I do want to echo the same thing she said. We did open a housing, and we are giving young people the opportunity to change themselves. Me, I live probably 10 minutes from here. I'm always in Burbank. I bring my niece to the Burbank events, and it has been life-changing for somebody like me. I have had the opportunity to meet people and be inspired by people in this community all the time. and I want to give these young people the other opportunity. And so our housing is just that opportunity for formerly incarcerated, for foster youth, for homeless youth, to go into a neighborhood that they've never been in with some very inspirational people like you all. And I think it'll be a big change and change the way we do things inside of criminal justice work, right? Seeing people like you all and seeing themselves in those shoes. Some of them will be firefighters, and maybe they'll work for Burbank at some point. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Kent Mendoza, followed by Ron Bax. Welcome. You have 1 minute.
Hello, council members. My name is Ken Mendoza. I'm the policy director for the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, an organization that welcomed me home when I was incarcerated from the age of 15 to 20 and was released at the age of 20. When I was released at the age of 20, I decided to go to college, become involved in my community through civic engagement, and just do things that are going to create or make our community safer and healthier. I'm 32 years of age now. I can say that I've been crime-free since the age of 18. And I just wanted to just say that we have to believe in young people, especially those that are returning home from incarceration. These are the people that deserve the most support at that age, in that crucial stages of their life, in order for us to create real health, public safety community. So just want to encourage you all to stand behind us. And the Anti-Recidivism Coalition does a lot of amazing work, focuses on neuroscience, and ultimately really holds people accountable through love, compassion, and second chances. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Ron Bax, followed by Michael Griggs. Welcome, Mr. Bax. You have 1 minute. Okay.
Good evening. You have the 2.5-minute version before you. I hope you review the sections I am forced to leave out. I am addressing this directly to Councilmember Perez, Councilmember Anthony, and Mayor Takahashi because you are the ones who voted to direct staff to return an ordinance imposing a 4% soft rent increase. Councilmembers Mullen voted against it, and Councilmember Rosati was advised to recuse himself. How do you justify relieving economic stress on some renters by inflicting near certain economic hardship and potential bankruptcy on all the housing providers? This type of action is reserved for our judicial system. Councilmember Anthony, you yourself stated during the October 28th, 2025 deliberations that this measure would only hurt the small housing provider. You also claimed to have a judicial role, a significant impetus for this presentation. Do not insult our intelligence by claiming the ordinance will not impose a treacherous 4% limit. I have repeatedly explained any so-called mediation process is nothing more than an invitation to be sued for discrimination.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Michael Griggs, followed by Fausto Lopez. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and esteemed City Council members and community members. My name is Michael Griggs. I'm a PhD student at UCLA in the Department of Social Welfare and the program coordinator of Project Rebound at CSU San Bernardino, and a proud member of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm here in support of ARC's Youth Housing Initiative in Burbank. I'm also formerly incarcerated and a recipient of ARC's supportive housing model. As a youth, I experienced trauma, and as a result of that trauma, I was eventually incarcerated. Yet, when I came home, ARC supported me with wraparound services and gave me direction in life. As a result, I was employed, worked full-time, went to college, received a full-ride scholarship to Pitzer College, and I now hold a MSW degree from CSU San Bernardino, and now I'm a doctoral student. Where I work, and now I'm working at Cal State San Bernardino, working to support other students with similar lived experiences of incarceration. I'm just asking that you guys please support this initiative. Thank you so much.
Next up is Fausto Lopez, followed by Eric Lashley.
Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Fausto Lopez. I'm a formerly incarcerated firefighter from Pine Grove, California. I was locked up from 16 to 20, and I'm an Anti-Recidivism Coalition member as well. ARC has put people in front of me that have guided me along my re-entry, like Michael Griggs, Carlos Cervantes, and many more people that just gave me a soft re-entry, and now I'm studying biology and I'm going to medical school. and I'm gonna be a doctor and give back to my community. And it's just like programs and people that are placed in front of me that guide me and steer me in the right way. And now I'm becoming a product of positive things that were once not able to happen, but now it's happening because of them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Eric Lashley, followed by Isabella Suleiman. Welcome.
Good evening, Eric Lashley. I'm speaking as a member of Leadership Burbank Class of 2026. Tonight I wanted to share information about the Leadership Burbank Class of 26 class project. Our class project is called New Day Laundry. The class project goals are to support a new mobile laundry trailer equipped with washers and dryers that will be operated by the Salvation Army, expanding their services here in Burbank. The trailer will operate alongside their mobile shower program, providing coordinated access to essential resources and support. Individuals interested in donating for this project can go to leadershipburbank.org. The class is also doing a fundraising event next week called New Day Disco at the VFW, April 29th from 6 to 9. We thank you for your support.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Isabella Suleiman.
Suleiman, yeah.
Suleiman, and followed by Magic McKay. Welcome, you have 1 minute.
Good evening. My name is Isabella Solomon, and I'm here representing the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. But before anything else, I am a mother, and when I hear this conversation, I don't hear policy. I hear people talking about whether or not young people deserve a place to feel safe. Because that's who we're talking about tonight, young people who have already experienced instability, foster care, homelessness, systems that most of us will never fully understand. Imagine being 18 or 19 years old, trying to figure out your life, trying to do the right thing, and being told that a community doesn't want you, that you are something to be afraid of. That kind of rejection stays with a person, but so does something else. Imagine being given a chance. This home is not just housing, it's a place where young people can breathe, where they can feel human again, where they can begin to believe that their life can look different. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Magic McKay, followed by John Cesario. Welcome.
Hello, Monte Magic McKay. I'm speaking on behalf of ARC as well. Just like everybody else said before me, ARC has helped me with a lot. I went to UC Berkeley. When I came home, I did 3 years, 17 and 20. I was able to come home. They helped me through my entire reentry journey. I was able to go to ARC. They helped me with scholarships. Now I'm a DYD, Department of Youth Development, Ray Mentor. I'm doing a lot. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous right now. I haven't done this in a long time, but they do a lot of good work. For me, like I said, I've seen kids who didn't have any housing, wasn't able to do a lot with their life. They didn't have the opportunity until ARC gave it to them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is John Cesario, followed by Norma Kumpian. Welcome, you have 1 minute.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Cesario. I'm the counselor at the Ventura Training Center Post-Incarcerated Fire Academy. I was one of the first staff members that was hired on there in 2018. Was fortunate to be a part of the solution during the Palisades fire as I supervised a strike team that were all formerly incarcerated. My senior year, I was sentenced to 18 years in prison. I spent 16 and a half years of that away from my family because of bad decisions that I made. My first 6 months of being out on Thanksgiving of 2016 were crucial. They were vital, and with that said, the support that I received, it made me who I am today, a football coach who went to the Rams Stadium in the Super Bowl with the 8 and 9-year-olds who come from foster care, at risk, fathers that were in prison. I used that time to now pour back. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Norma Kumpian.
That's perfect.
And followed by Justin Reed Early. Welcome.
Thank you. I am also formerly incarcerated, and I stand here as a huge supporter of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. When I started my journey, I was pregnant with my son and did not see a way out of the situation I put myself in. And so often at that time and so often now, when I can't see it myself out of a situation, the answer is usually community. And that's what happened to me while I was incarcerated. The community surrounded me and invested in me, so much so that I could invest in my son. When I came home, my son could not wait for me, and he enlisted in the military. He fought in Afghanistan for this country. He came home with a Purple Heart. I believe he learned those values while visiting me in the visiting room and knowing that people there are, their outsides don't always match their insides. Thank you very much.
For your comment. Next up is Justin Reed Early, followed by Antonia Aguilar.
Hello,
Welcome.
esteemed council and mayor. My name is Justin Reed Early. I am a chief of staff in Beverly Hills, and I'm here in support of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm a formerly homeless foster care and incarcerated youth, and I was presented with a chance on May 29th, 1991 to go in another direction in a program very similar to the ARC. And when I drove up to that facility from jail where they picked me up, there was a sign on the lawn that said, "Today is the first day of the rest of your life." And I really believe that for everyone that's participating at ARC. They really give them an opportunity to give them that first day of the rest of their lives. And the work that they're doing is just unmatchable, and it's credible, and I love them, and I'm a prospective board member. I'm really excited to get engaged with them. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Antonia Aguilar, followed by Carlos Cervantes. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Antonia Aguilar Cole, and I am speaking as a member of the policy team at the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm here to uplift the powerful statements made here tonight by ARC's members. These incredible individuals are living proof that when young people are supported, believed in, and given a second chance, they become role models, change makers, and leaders. A crucial part of that investment is access to stable housing. Housing is not just a roof over your head, it's safety, stability, and a foundation. Young people need this when they're reintegrating into society. When young people have these options, they find employment, schooling, and avoid returning into an carceral system that harms people. We appreciate your time, and we really thank you. This is us bringing garlands and food to have us break at our table. Sharing space is about community, and it's also about recognizing who these community members are. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Carlos Cervantes, followed by Angel Isaradas.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I served close to 11 years from the age of 16 to 27. At the age of 16, I was incarcerated in a juvenile hall. At the age of 17, I went to a state prison where I spent the next 10 years. At 27, I came home. I never had an ID, never had a driver's license, never paid rent, and I was expected to. And I came home with $200 in my pocket. I came home to a family, and that was it. The state told me, here's $200, go make a living, go make it happen. I found a community of people that were formerly incarcerated. Later on, I was released January 20th, 2011, 2013. We formed the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm a founding ARC member. And since then, I've dedicated my life to making sure that people that are in the system have a place to come home to, have a community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Angel Isaradas, followed by Rob Warrenoff. Welcome.
Good evening. My name's Angel Isaradas. I'm a proud member of Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I was 17, tried as an adult, given life in prison. I came home at 32, overwhelmed, stressed, not knowing where to really go. Anti-Recidivism Coalition gave me a platform to take off from. Today I'm in the union, Local 80 GRIP. I work down the street on the Price is Right game show. And they really just provided not just that housing, but for the first time a home for me and a healthy community. So I like to believe that the city of Burbank is able to provide the same for these young men looking for not a handout, but just a helping hand. And I appreciate you guys for giving me this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Rob Warrenoff, followed by Dakota Dickens. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and the Council. I have the honor of serving as the Anti-Recidivism Coalition's Executive Director, and I am exceedingly proud to lead this organization. And the evidence of how successful we are is our biggest funder and our biggest programmatic partner is the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, because they so believe in what we do. I've worked in nonprofits, mostly in juvenile justice and foster care systems for 35 years. We had a house for young people in downtown LA, and it was not safe, and it was not a good neighborhood, and these young people would not be safe. We particularly chose Burbank on purpose to open our home here because it is a safe community and a welcoming community. We're very proud to be a part of this community. We have wonderful intentions of being good neighbors and teaching our young people who live there to be those good neighbors. So we really appreciate you hearing all of us tonight, and thank you so much for your support.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Dakota Dickens, followed by Luis Trujillo.
Hello, my name is Dakota Dickens, and I am a representative of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I myself am also formerly incarcerated, and the Anti-Recidivism Coalition has been there every step of the way. I had no home, and I had no way to get there. They bridged that gap. They gave me a ride home to their housing. They gave me the resources, the tools to pursue the journeys that I wanted to, a pipeline to the fire academy. I did graduate at the top of my class. I now dedicate my life to being in service and providing that blueprint painted and forward to serve others. They helped me write a resume. I had no life experience out here. Cover letters, financial literacy, digital literacy, and they gave me a platform to kind of share my story and kind of project and tell the people that it's not so much about what we did in our past, but the healing and the way we move forward. So I just want to thank ARC and the efforts that they make and continue to make, and I'd love to be a part of that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Luis Trujillo, followed by Michael Feinstein. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Trujillo, and I'm a formerly incarcerated individual. I went to prison not for what I did. I went to prison for what I did, not for who I am. And I want to make sure that I'm here in full support of ARC. ARC was one of the first organizations that helped me get a job. I was providing tutoring services for formerly incarcerated, and to being able to go to the Second Chance work program. They were also, ARC was the one that helped me when I was at Yale University studying computational analysis and infectious diseases, and my parole officers wanted to drag me back. It was ARC that supported me. I am currently a Master's of Addiction Science at the University of Southern California. I am doing everything that I possibly can to help support this community because they are my community. Lastly, I'm a researcher that studies the neurobiology of shame as it relates to formerly incarcerated. I implore this community not to shame our community.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Next up is Michael Feinstein, followed by Dr. Roberto Lacara.
Good evening, Michael Feinstein, former Santa Monica mayor and city council member, co-founder of the Green Party of California, and a candidate for California Secretary of State. What did we learn from our fight with Texas over redistricting and gerrymandering? No matter how you draw the lines in single-seat winner-take-all districts, you favor some voters over others. I'm campaigning on a plan for proportional representation for the state legislature, similar to New Zealand and Germany, a larger legislature where half the seats are elected from smaller single-seat districts and half from multi-county regional districts, a map on the screen. And the reason for this is that in a proportional representation district, instead of electing one person from one party to represent an area, you represent people from a diverse set of perspectives. There might be some Democrats, some Greens, some Republicans, some Libertarians, etc. And both smaller districts have their own benefits, but on the map, these multi-county districts reflect the fact that as a state of regions, a lot of our public policy really is regional in terms of transportation, housing, economics, etc. You lobby through SCAG, through your Council of Governments, but we don't elect anybody from regional perspectives. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Dr. Roberto Lacara, followed by Diana Pulver. Welcome.
Dr. Roberto Lacara. I am a candidate for State Senate District 20, which is part of Burbank. I'm independent Democrat. I've been endorsed by Republicans and Democrats because I'm open-minded. I bring 40 years of experience to this job. LA County Sheriffs, LA County Probation, and you might have seen me at LA Valley College as a community college counselor. I look forward to working with you on your projects. I look forward to bringing you resources and creating laws from the state of California. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Diana Pulver, followed by Sebastian Garcia. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Diana Pulver. I'm a housing provider and a proud Burbanker. As you know, AB 1482 provides rent control at a level that housing providers like me can work with. It allows sufficient room to maintain our property and provide the quality that Burbank renters have come to expect. It allows, the addition of a renter registry will only add to the mounting regulations and expenses housing providers are dealing with every day. As any business owner knows, you have to live within your budget. Additional expenses affect the bottom line, and with the current economic climate, I have to make sure every expenditure counts. I don't have the luxury of wasteful spending. Adding a rent registry will only make my job harder. Commercial registries already exist, and renters and providers use them every day. Imposing an additional...
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Next up is Sebastian Garcia, followed by Mike Graves. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sebastian Garcia. I'm here as a member of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and I am one of those youth that they talked about, right? I was in foster care, formerly incarcerated, but because of the mentorship, community, and suitable housing, I am a semester away from getting my bachelor's at Cal State Northridge and soon going into the film industry. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Mike Graves, followed by Mark Scroggs. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. 2 weeks ago, I had a list of rhetorical questions as my public comment. I hoped thereafter that a dialogue would begin, and it's what we in Magnolia Park would like to see commence. We have heard from a few city leaders and staff, but not nearly what we need to better inform your constituents. Transitional housing is a spectrum with specialized counseling for the residents and different risk factors. We want to know what different kinds of transitional housing are operating in town. How many homes have become transitional housing? So far, there appears to be no limit on the number of units in a given area. We know that residential living interspersed within Magnolia Park ranges from R1 to R4. There's nothing exclusionary or inequitable about the housing here in town, except that many say it's expensive to live here. Anyone can see how many homes are building out with ADUs, adding to living space, the kind needed by our neighbors today. The city is taking in nice sums of money. The city and the county will enjoy higher property taxes. Thank you.
Almost. Thank you for your comment. Next up is Mark Scroggs, followed by Larry Williams. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Scroggs. This information is for everybody who's watching who wants to speak out against the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger. First, go to www.blockthemerger.com/open letter. There's a letter for people to sign for Attorney General Rob Bonta and other people. Even people who are not in the entertainment industry can sign as consumer, film fan, or viewer. On Monday the 13th, there were 1,000 signatures. Today, there's over 4,100. Some are celebrities, most are not. Tomorrow, from 1 to 2 p.m., people will be speaking at Attorney General Rob Bonta's office at 300 South Spring Street in downtown LA. Hope you can be there. Hope you can check it out. Hope you can sign this. It will help the economy. And I got to say, these other speakers tonight have been so inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Larry Williams, followed by Kevin Neighbors. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Larry Williams. I am a pastor at Oasis Church, and I'm here to represent ARC. I have been volunteering for ARC for the past 2 years, and the reason I love doing it is because I come from that same environment. I came from a broken home. I came from, gang violence. I came from my mom being on drugs, and so when you can change your environment, you can also change your mindset. So what ARC is doing is changing their environment, and now they're able to change their mindset. And so it's important for us. I wouldn't be who I am if my environment didn't change. And I think it's important for us to allow that to happen, because then they can walk in the purpose of what God has for them. So changing that environment helps them change their mindset and helps them become better. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Kevin Neighbors, followed by Eric Provin. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Kevin Neighbors. I'm also here as a representative of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm their workforce and education coordinator for youth, and I am a firm believer in second chances, and I've experienced it myself because I spent 10 years in foster care and watched my siblings go in and out of the system, and so this work is really important to me. And to watch the youth just transform, I believe Justin said it's a life-changing moment that just happens in a split second. And today we were working on values and what it looks like to step into leadership. And instead of speaking about it, I'd like to just share what they wrote. They said that authenticity anchors integrity, integrity stabilizes discipline, discipline enables patience, patience sustains accountability, accountability reinforces reliability, reliability earns leadership, and leadership is expressed through mutual respect. And this was done in a single afternoon, where they put together this code. I think it's great.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Eric Provin, followed by Provin, followed by Cindy Mill. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Pleasure to be here. I am the direct neighbor of the property that has moved in, the ARC property. Pretty amazing that I think what I've thrown out in my speech, I think what's really wild to me is you've got these amazing young men here, totally love this program. We got some leaders here. I haven't met any of them. We share a fence. I don't know these dudes. They didn't come to us before. They bought the house months ago. I don't know about security. They can look right in my backyard. I have 2 daughters. How do we feel about this? And it's shameful that, I'm sorry to look back, that someone would say this is us against them. I was one of these dudes. I grew up in foster care. I can help all of them. Sebastian, let's hook up, dude. I'm your beau. Like, I want to help these guys. But the fact that their leadership wouldn't come to me with respect to my daughters and my family and say, hey, we're thinking about this crazy idea. What do you think? Is wild to me. It's wild. I worked my butt off. I'm a Disney artist. I got a home in Burbank, the dream. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Cindy Mill, followed by Shelby Grimm. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Sydney Miller. And I just kind of want to echo what Eric had just said. I just feel that it's unacceptable that we weren't notified about our opening in our block. I live on Catalina, about 5 doors down from Eric. My family has been and the home, I should say, has been in my family for generations. So the community really means a great deal to me. I think that we're all concerned not only about the unknown, but also about property values, and more importantly, about safety and the well-being of many children and elderly residents within the neighborhood. And I just think it would have been nice if we had a bit of transparency and accountability and clear answers before everything had moved forward.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Shelby Grimm, followed by Harry Tamurian. Welcome.
Hello, Madam Mayor and the council members. I just want to express great sadness that this misunderstanding is happening, and that this group has persuaded all of these fine people to come and speak about their personal experience, and none of that is what's actually the issue here. The issue is where the location is and the breach of community trust. I hear about a lot of words like passion. I know that these people have a lot of passion about it, but I don't hear anything about compassion. And no experience myself of being heard and listened to. I respected Mr. Rosati for coming and listening to us the other evening, but I don't hear it from this housing project. In fact, Mr. Robb, the person who spoke, said, okay.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Harry Tamurian, followed by Joshua Rosales. Okay. Materials.
I'm going to wait till they come over.
Good evening, Council. Harry Tamarian, Burbank Association of Realtors. Analysis by the Glendale Association of Realtors shows rents in Glendale and Burbank have risen far less than overall inflation and housing costs, challenging some of the core assumptions driving today's housing policy debate. Good policy starts with accurate data, and the data tells a very different story. What these slides show is actually pretty eye-opening. Between 2017 and 2026, rents in Burbank and Glendale have increased roughly 18 to 22%. Meanwhile, inflation is up over 36%, and shelter costs is up over 40%. So the takeaway is simple. Rents have not kept pace with either inflation or wages. In real terms, housing providers are actually falling behind. But here's a critical piece. These slides don't capture, and it matters, they don't account for true costs of maintaining housing stock. So while rents appear modest on paper, the cost to operate and maintain those properties have surged far beyond those rent increases. Please pay attention to the data. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Joshua Rosales, followed by Derek Williams. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Rosales. I am a member and an employee of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition as a community navigator. I am in support of the housing at Catalina. I am a formerly incarcerated youth who was incarcerated at the age of 15 and released at the age of 32. I was fortunate to be given an opportunity to live in a house similar to this one for individuals who have done a significant amount of time. Due to being incarcerated at such a young age, I didn't know who I was as an adult, as a man, or as a productive member of society. With the assistance and resources and services that the Anti-Recidivism Coalition has to offer at their office, I was able to learn how to adult, how to live responsibly, how to be financially responsible. I have experienced a lot of my first times with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition and continue to be a service to all of our communities. Thank you very much for having me, and may you guys have a good day.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Derek Williams, followed by Eddie Herrera. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. My name is Derek Williams. I'm also a formerly incarcerated individual. I went to juvenile hall at 15. That's where I came in contact with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Upon my release, I was given the tools, the resources, and also the fire training from the Anti-Recidivism Coalition to pursue my career. I'm now a 6-year firefighter with CAL FIRE, and I'm pursuing my career further. And I'm just here just to show the community who's moving in, who's around, and what kind of people are we in. Because I was one of those youth that needed the help, needed the guidance, needed the mentorship, and that is definitely what I got from the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Eddie Herrera, followed by Jesus Cuevas.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for having me, my speech. My name is Eduardo Herrera Jr., and I'm speaking as a proud member of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I'm here today because I believe every young person deserves a safe place to live. At one point in my life, I was in the juvenile system. That path eventually led me to spending 18 years in incarceration. What I didn't have back then was stability or a safe place that believed in my future. ARC changed that for me. Through their support and programs like the Ventura Training Center, I was given a real opportunity. Today I stand before you as a fire apparatus engineer for CAL FIRE, serving the community. I want to be clear, Catalina Housing is just that, housing. It's a place to live. The support and services ARC provides happens at their office, not at the home. What this house offers is something that just as important as stability, a safe, consistent place where young people can rest, focus, and build their future. Because without stability, it's easy to fall back. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Jesus Cuevas, followed by Miguel Angel Silva.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jesus Cuevas. I'm a student at CORE, Community Overcoming Recidivism Through Education. I'm also part of the Flint Ridge program and the Dependable Dads program at Flint Ridge in Pasadena. Having ARC in Burbank would mean more people having a real shot at stability and success. It would mean fewer people falling through the cracks and more people stepping into college careers and community leadership. I'm not only an individual, I'm a father, I'm a scholar, and I'm also now running for president at a community at Pasadena City College because of these programs. The truth is this works. It's effective, and that's exactly why I'm here, because it deserves to expand. The people ARC serves are already part of this community. We are here. Welcoming us is a great opportunity about recognizing that truth and choosing to invest in real change. I hope Burbank aligns with this program, opens its eyes and becomes willing, open-minded, like I have. I'm also an individual in recovery, and that wouldn't have been possible without these programs. Thank you.
For your comment. Next up is Miguel Angel Silva, followed by Samantha, I think it says Foreman. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Miguel Angel Silva. I am a ARC member. I am standing here, listening to the community also, and I hear what they said, and I appreciate them, and I just want to say sorry for whatever it was that if we didn't reach you guys appropriately, that's just coming from me personally. I just want to say that what we do is beyond community. We are, if you guys have noticed, we are a family. We give family to people that don't have that family in their immediacy, right? So we invite the community to come into our family. We love everyone. I work with each one of these persons every single day, from the young members to the oldest ones. What we do is provide love, provide care, provide support, and we hold each other accountable. We hold each other accountable to the highest values and the highest moral standing that we can. At any time, any given moment, anybody could call any one of us, and we're there. But what greater opportunity than to stand here in front of you guys and allow those young men to have that to look up to, because that's what's changed me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is, I think it says Samantha Foreman.
Guzman.
Followed by Mary O'Hare. Welcome.
Hi, I'm a student at PCC. I'm also in the core program that also focuses on overcoming recidivism through education. I go to school with formerly incarcerated scholars, doing everything they can to rebuild their life. ARC shows up in ways that truly matter. I know youth in this program whose life have been transformed because someone believed in them and gave them a chance. Expanding this work into Burbank is so important, and we hope you welcome these people that would be closer to getting their degree and stability. These people ARC support are my family members, my classmates, my neighbors, my community members. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Mary O'Hare, followed by David Donahue. Welcome.
The BRT in 79 equals safety and solvency issues. Around the Olive and Riverside Station, the issue is safety. If SB 79 applies, buildings of 60 feet or more will be in 3 neighborhoods that include fire zones: Burbank, Toluca Lake, East Rancho, and North Alameda. 2 of these neighborhoods are in very high fire zones. Next slide, please. Look at the Olive segment from Alameda to Hollywood Way. It is only 1,700 feet. It takes under 40 seconds at 30 miles an hour. Within that short stretch, the dedicated lane is shorter, segmented, broken by signals, and unmapped driveways. Right-turning vehicles from Olive must enter the bus lane path, and other vehicles entering Olive must cross it.
Thank you for
that
your
creates confusion and problems.
Our next speaker is David Donahue, followed by Liz Bax, and that's my last card. Welcome.
I'm here because I'm seeing a significant breach of protocols and have serious concerns on yet another rogue action and, in my opinion, potentially illegal by Councilmember Constantine Anthony. The slide, please. Recently, residents have begun receiving text messages explicitly soliciting donations to support a ballot initiative. You can close the slides. The text states, this November, Burbank voters will decide on increasing our hotel tax by 2% in order to raise $10 million per year to offset the city's structural deficit. It then links to a fundraising page to make donations. Here's the problem. As of this moment, no one on council or from staff has said anything about a tenant occupancy tax. Yet a sitting council member is actively collecting private funds by pushing 3 misleading narratives. 1, that this measure is his own initiative. 2, that the city is running out of money and is using fear tactics to frighten residents into donating. And 3, purposely misleading concerned residents that the fund will go towards the city's ballot initiative and not his own personal
Thank you for
campaign.
your comment. Next up and last speaker is Liz Bax. Welcome.
As David said, this suggests that he used confidential information he was privy to about the looming deficit and moving proactively to establish a private fundraising vehicle, not for the city, not for the ballot initiative, but for his campaign for LA County Board of Supervisors. This raises severe ethical and legal questions about the voter misdirection and the true destination of these funds. City Attorney, what steps are you taking to ensure there won't be any Brown Act violations? And does the city plan to address the liability of sitting council members decimating confidential city information to solicit cash for his own community? Mayor Takahashi, do you support a member of this body privately fundraising off of what appears to be significant city initiative that hasn't even been approved by city council? And do you consider it appropriate for such fundraising to take place before the city has reached any official decision on the matter? Because this isn't funny. I expect Councilmember Anthony to face a real enforceable standard of accountability, not something symbolic as the council has done in the past, but something that respects the public trust and reflects the seriousness of what is at stake here.
Thank you for your comment. All right, Madam City Clerk, we don't have any callers on the line?
We do not, Madam Mayor.
There being no further public comment, I now declare the general public comment period closed. Now is the time for a brief response from City Council, City Manager, or the City Attorney. Do we have any responses from staff?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I just have one. Just to clarify, the council will be discussing, they're going to start their budget discussions actually at the next meeting. And at that time, we're going to talk about all the revenues, including transient occupancy tax. The council has not formally discussed any sort of transient occupancy increase yet. You have not deliberated at this time. And just for the record, 2% increase would not translate into 10 million. So it would be more like $3 to $4 million. So just want to go on record for that. And that's all I have right now.
Okay, Mr. City Attorney, nothing? Okay. Council members, yes, Councilmember Anthony.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First off, this is not the forum to discuss campaign issues, so you can reach me offline and we can talk about that. I do want to ask, Mr. City Attorney, some people came to our last meeting asking questions about state law as it provides housing for people entering, or rather re-entering society from incarceration. There was a little bit of a discussion of what the council's purview is on that and the authority.
That's a question best for the Community Development Department. As one of the speakers indicated, I don't know that this is a supportive services facility, but they went through whatever the normal entitlement process is, so.
Okay.
I believe it's a residential house with multiple ADUs, and the use is, from what I understand, permitted by right.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. First off, I want to say, Ms. Miller and Mr. Grimm, thank you for coming down. I know it was important for you to be here, even after you heard from the other folks who had showed up today. I get that it's frustrating. One of the reasons why a lot of these issues are preempted by state laws, because some people, not you, but some people in other communities would create a big to-do about it to sort of force them not to be able to do the great work that they're doing. ARC, as you can see, has great benefit for the community. And it is unfortunate that there isn't a way to do the outreach more so beforehand. But I will say they did have an open house. I was not able to attend, but I did show up a few days later. I knocked on the door, and they invited me in. They just said, yeah, come in and take a look at the place. It was very welcoming. I was not expecting that. I highly encourage you, just knock on their door. Say hi, take a look around the place, get a tour. The person I am upset at, though, Mr. Graves. Mr. Graves, I got a hold of your flyer. You were here 2 weeks ago, and we had a discussion about this. Councilmember Rosati, you explained, not in great detail, but pretty clearly that state law preempted this issue. And in fact, your flyer even says, right on it, we are told by City of Burbank staff that state law supersedes our local city-based zoning ordinances on this issue. And yet you still came down and wasted everyone's time and forced everyone else to comment on this. It's problematic and troublesome. We can
Madam
do
Mayor,
this.
I just want to remind the council member, brief responses
Brief.
to public comment.
I'm done.
Otherwise,
I'm
this
done.
needs to be agendized.
I appreciate that. I do want to thank everyone for showing up. You came down and you spoke your piece to everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Next. Councilmember Rosati, you want to go next?
Madam Mayor, thank you. Let's just start with the tough stuff first. So I did hear something about this TOT thing, but I just really didn't know. I just thought it was just kind of talk. So I am a little bit surprised what I just saw. And I am a little disappointed that a council member has gotten ahead of the rest of this council and our community. This wasn't a discussion about the community we had. This wasn't a discussion for our council. So I would ask the city attorney to maybe look into this, because it just doesn't seem right to me that, and it certainly is, it makes us look silly that we don't know what's going on in our community, and another council member might be doing something different than what, in a direction that we're going. So I would ask our city attorney to look at that. It makes me look stupid when I say I don't know anything about it, and I'm on city council. So with regards to ARC.
Madam Mayor, if I could, just because Councilmember Rosati is on point in asking me a question. One of the speakers had mentioned whether there's a Brown Act violation. There's not a Brown Act violation if one council member has a communication outward. So this doesn't really implicate the Brown Act. And while staff may have been discussing a potential measure, it wasn't. I can't speak to where the information came from. I have had brief periodic conversations with Councilmember Anthony about fundraising activities. He is not doing so as a candidate. It falls under the state campaign fundraising. He set up an organization that appears legitimate, and there's a great deal of flexibility to fundraise for committees. So,
it would have been nice if we knew about it, so at least we can answer questions intelligently and say, yes, one council member is created a campaign and is out campaigning on TOT, and we haven't even talked about it, but I guess it's okay.
I don't disagree, but on the point of whether it's legal or not legal, upon cursory review, there doesn't seem to be anything improper legally. The rest is up to you all.
It's confusing when a council member is acting as a resident of the community because he's a council member. That's all. So I would have liked a heads up, that's all. Regarding the neighborhood, ARC, thank you for your powerful testimony. For over, 15 years sitting on the planning board, I have fought against operating a business in a residential neighborhood. I don't think that our community doesn't welcome you. Yes, we do. We want people to have second and third and fourth chances. I think operating a business in a residential neighborhood is wrong. And when I say operating a business, I also say Airbnb should not be operating in a residential community, R1 neighborhood. So I've said that publicly for over a decade. Thank you to the animal control team for all you do in our community. It's a vital, important asset that you provide your services. National Library Week, you guys continuously do great work in our community, and now we got the bookmobile. Thank you to FSA and Zonta for coming out and bringing awareness to Denim Day. Congrats to our records and informational management keepers who really memorialize our city's positions and our heritage. I'm proud to recognize April 24th as Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day, and I'm glad as a community that we mark that day. In 2026, Leadership Burbank, I'll be out to support your, I think it's a disco party or something, but more importantly, the New Day Laundry facility. So I will be definitely out there to support that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez, want to go next? Vice Mayor? Vice Mayor.
Okay. Well, first I want to start by congratulating everyone who came tonight and received a proclamation. Zonta, the library, the animal control officers, the records, the city clerk's office, and of course recognizing the Armenian genocide. That is something we're very proud to do every year, to acknowledge the genocide. Now, I want to address, even though it's not on the agenda, but address everyone who came tonight to speak about ARC. And as Councilmember Rizzotti stated, we are obviously very moved and touched by your stories. And I know it takes a lot of courage to be here sharing those stories with us. And at first, I was kind of like surprised how many people we have here and what is this all about. Every one of you have a great story to tell, and I applaud all of you for having a second chance, and I applaud you for making a new life for yourself. Now, I want to address our residents who have also come last week, couple of weeks, and they have been sending us emails. We talked about this, and I'm going to go over it very briefly. For both sides, with ARC and our residents as well who are concerned, who live on the street, you know that Burbank did not create the law to allow a business to run in a residential neighborhood. This is not something the city council adopted an ordinance to do this. We need to write to our Sacramento legislators. We need to reach out to our assembly members, to our senators, and perhaps there's going to be a structure in the process. And when I say structure, notification about the business that's going in. I know there has been conversation about, hey, we're sorry, we should have notified the neighborhoods at least to let everyone know what's coming next to you. And from my understanding, that did not happen. So I really encourage you to look into the actual process and how it can be improved so we don't have neighbors fighting against each other and we don't have these issues coming up again. The city of Burbank, there's a lot of things that we'd like to do. However, it's taken out of our hands and out of our control. Not that we don't welcome all of you, because I think it's wonderful that the life you made for yourself, and it's wonderful that you're giving a second chance. But there is communication is always very important. People don't know your stories. A lot of the residents have no idea who's coming next door. I mean, we're all nosy. When somebody moves right next door to me, I get out and I look and I'm like, who are these neighbors? You know, I want to meet them. I want to know who they are. And this is exactly what happened in this situation. So, you know, even though we didn't meet face to face, I'm happy to sit down with you, go over the process, how you reach your legislators, to email them, to talk to them, and help to maybe get some structure to the process. So in the future, to ensure that there's proper notifications made, not because we don't want them in our backyard, but because there's a process that would take place of notification. So the best that I can offer to you is, like, how do we do this, okay? So with that, I do understand both sides of the frustration and both sides of trying to find a resolution to this. I do want to acknowledge, Mary, thank you for always coming and talking. I know the time had to go really fast. Good PowerPoint presentation here. And Mr. Tamarian, thank you for the data. It's always very helpful to see what's going on in our neighboring cities and be up to date on what's happening in the market. And lastly, I'm a bit concerned. I'm actually really concerned about the text message I just saw on the screen and hearing that there's been, Councilmember Anthony advocating on behalf of the city, actually on behalf of the city council for something that I personally did not know about or adopt. I mean, I did hear through several meetings that there's going to be a TOT tax perhaps coming, but I know formally we have to adopt this as a council, as an entire council. So I think it's very alarming that we went ahead of this body and started soliciting. I'm not saying having a committee is not legal. That's not my concern because that's your committee and it's public. But I think as a body of this, as a member of this body, I'm extremely concerned about what we're soliciting and asking for from the public, that we're raising money on a TOT tax that I was like, did I approve that? And
So Councilmember, just so I can be very clear.
Yeah.
You're using the word "we," and
We as
there's
a
nothing
council.
attributed to the city by Councilmember Anthony's fundraising. It is his own committee for a better Burbank or whatever. It is not the city. So I'm only sensitive to that word because the city is not raising funds for advocacy of a ballot measure.
Thank you.
To your point, there has not yet been a discussion. I just want to make it very clear. It is not the city that's requested any funds. It just so happens that Councilmember Anthony, as a private individual who has a committee to better Burbank and support ballot measures, has put out that communication. Just want to make that clear.
Okay, so I know because it's not on the agenda, but I do have some questions of, does that mean,
So
should
not
I
for
ask
tonight.
for it? Should I ask for it at the end of
At
the
the
meeting?
end of the
Because
agenda,
I'd like to
please.
know if we're all allowed individually to open a committee and start soliciting money for a
So I
measure.
can't advise you as
Okay.
an individual what committees you can open or not open, but you can ask for that at the end of the agenda.
Okay, I will do that because I do have questions, but I know you're gonna stop
Yes,
that.
stop you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Perez?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I want to thank everybody who came down to comment. And I also want to acknowledge, like my colleagues had Library Week, which is great. I'm not biased at all in any way, shape, or form. And thank you to Zonta once again and Family Service Agency of Burbank for commemorating Denim Day. It's an important day where we acknowledge, especially with everything that's going on in our society today, the issues with sexual assault and the lack of believing women that we still see today. Denim Day is a great reminder for that. So I want to thank both those organizations for taking the time to commemorate and remind us. I want to congratulate Leadership Burbank on a great project. Thank you to Mr. Lashley for sharing. It's much needed public good in our community. And of course, shout out to the Armenian genocide commemoration that's happening on the actual day is the 24th, but we have recognized it, and City Hall will be lit in orange in commemoration. And then the last thing, obviously, thank you, Mr. Scroggs, for your discussion about the Paramount merger. Thank you for sharing where to sign. And Mary, you're right on the money. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see, and of course, to the majority of the folks who came to comment tonight about the issue of the home. I hope moving forward, we don't see, I know we've said the word sides a lot. I don't want to see sides. And this, I know, is a state issue that we don't have any control over, but it's happening in our community. And it is also not on the agenda, but I will share my 2 cents. Brief. ARC has done a lot throughout Los Angeles, and I have personally been witness to their work. I'm also a social worker. I'm an MSW. Had the pleasure of working with ARC. Shout out to the MSW graduate from UCLA. Go Bruins. And I think it has taught me, and I'm speaking to you as a neighbor, the folks who came to talk. It has taught me a lot about what the coalition can do, the kind of work that goes on, and the kind of community members that are served. Because folks who are trying to overcome their situation, having gone through the prison system, are our neighbors, many of which don't have to identify themselves and you wouldn't even know. So I think that's important to recognize. And Mr. Grimm, you said something today about young people being misled to come here. I don't think they are misled. I think they are here because they have been misjudged. And so I don't think we can't do a back and forth. I know what I heard, and so I'm speaking to that. I think these are folks who have been misjudged. And that's why they decided to come to the podium here today to speak on that. So I invite our community members who are concerned to speak with the leadership that is here. Share your concerns. They're valid. Talk to them and come to an understanding. And with the same one, I invite the leadership that's here from ARC to speak with our community members. It sounds like that is a dialogue that needs to happen so that you all can coexist. This is not a business, it is a nonprofit organization. And I know that there have been instances in the past, and this is throughout the entire county, when a nonprofit organization acquires a property and there's tension, there's concerns from neighbors, right? 9 out of 10 times, it's not an issue, but it involves dialogue. It involves coming together to talk. And so I absolutely hear our neighbors' concerns about feeling blindsided. And I think this moment in time is the perfect opportunity for you both to talk. And I'm looking at you as the executive director, as a fellow nonprofit ED. Now's the moment to extend your arm and reach out to them and talk. And I hope you all come to an understanding where Burbank can be a community that has this facility and is respectful of its neighbors and can say that we're providing a safe second chance for folks that doesn't intrude on the neighborhood that we all know and love. So I hope you will all, I know you're shaking your head no, but I hope you'll open your heart and change your mind. And I hope you will have a productive conversation with your new neighbors. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, so first, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Many of you came from other areas of town and took time out of your evening to come here and wait for us to get to public comment. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for those who are using jazz hands to clap. It really helps the process move along, so appreciate that. As was mentioned, we can't speak about this at great length, but I'd like to thank you for sharing your stories and sharing your perspectives and experiences and giving us more context and understanding and information about the reality of ARC and your experiences with ARC. I think a lot of times fear and worry comes from not knowing the information and not knowing what something is. And so hearing more stories and hearing how this has worked for you provides more information about what it is. I also went, after our last meeting, I went online and researched ARC to find out more and to hear more about the other locations. And the organization has a solid history. And as far as I could find, there were no complaints that I could find publicly online about the houses. That said, when a new neighbor moves in, that is atypical of what we expect. There's sometimes worry or confusion about what that will bring. So that makes sense to be concerned. So I think this is a situation where it's really important for neighbors to know neighbors. And as people move into the house and as folks are integrated into the community, that the neighbors, you get to know each other, just as with anyone else who moves in, and learn about the individuals who are there and find out what's going on. It sounds like most individuals are willing to share their stories of what's going on. And vice versa, share the story of living here in Burbank for 20 years, 30 years, and what that's been like, and creating neighbors. And if in that effort of creating neighbors, there's discord or problems, then that's the time to say this is the problem, because that's a real on the ground what's going on. But if you meet your neighbors and you find out you actually might really like each other, give it a chance first. That said, it's always good to have more information. So continued conversation, continued learning, and I'm willing to chat with whoever wants to chat with about it, to hear concerns, your experiences, to learn more, to do a tour, to walk the neighborhood, whatever you'd like to do, because this is about neighbors, being neighbors with each other and how we can do that better. And then to the two individuals, I think it was Mr. Feinstein, Mr. La Carrera, who came to share about running for office. Appreciate you coming by. And then Mr. Lashley, thank you for sharing information about the New Day Laundry. That's an exciting endeavor. Excited about that. And then Mr. Scroggs, thank you always for giving us updates on what's going on. And you always bring direct, actionable things to do. Like you have a viewpoint, and then if you folks want to get involved, this is an action, and then that's really appreciated. To Mr. Tamurian and Ms. O'Hare, thank you for bringing the information and sharing it with us. I will look at it in more depth after the meeting. And then lastly, touching on the text that was shared at the end of public comment, I agree that text is troubling, extremely troubling. And it's not something that we can talk about at length here, but I believe it should have been run by the city attorney before it was sent out. And we've had this conversation before about other things that have been sent out. And I have to admit, I'm rarely annoyed, but I am actually annoyed that we have to have this conversation again. So hopefully, the end of the meeting, Vice Mayor is going to bring up something and we can move forward with something else, maybe. But my hope is that we will not have to talk about this again. Yes?
Just because everybody else threw their 2 cents out there, I forgot to slap you on the wrist. But I do appreciate you bringing it up, because I think it's important for all of us to understand what is legal and what is ethical and where this council stands.
Yep.
Yeah.
How to respond.
At the appropriate time. I can
Yes.
feel the look.
Yes. And that is the end of my comments. Thank you. So you are all welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you like, but it is getting late, I understand. So thank you for coming out. And for those who are going home, have a nice evening. Well, I mean, people, feel like they're obligated. Yeah. All right, please make your way out. No. All right. We have still a majority sitting up here at the dais, so we'll move forward. The consent calendar is maybe enacted in one motion, so we're going to move on to consent calendar. Madam City Clerk, please read the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 3 items on tonight's consent calendar. Item 1 is approval of the City Council minutes of the joint meeting of April 7th, 2026, and the dark meeting of April 14th, 2026. Item 2 is approval of the Housing Authority minutes of the joint meeting of April 7th, 2026. And item 3 is update on the process of considering the installation of an Armenian memorial with the designated proposed location of Johnny Carson Park. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Second? All right, can we do the roll call?
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Councilmember Perez. Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Yes.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yay.
That was a sincere clap.
All right, next up is the public hearing. And we're not that much behind schedule, actually, considering everything. It's 8:20, we were getting for 8 to 5. All right, so this is the time for the time and place for the hearing for project number 25-0004181, introduction of an ordinance for a zone map amendment to establish a zoning designation of single-family residential and adoption of a resolution amending the general plan land use map to establish a land use designation of low-density residential for portions of 17 properties located at the 600-700 block of Roselli Street that are proposed for annexation into the city of Burbank, to pre-zone the 17 properties related to the same, finding of CEQA exemptions. If you wish to comment on this item in person, please present a salmon public hearing card to the city clerk. If you wish to comment over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. You will be placed in a queue until the public hearing comment begins. Before we begin, are there any disclosures relating to this hearing?
No.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, have all the notices as required by law been given?
They have.
And do we have the complete file of exhibits, correspondence, and other documents?
You do.
Okay. Has the city received any written communication on this matter? And if so, have they been provided to City Council?
We did not receive any correspondences.
Okay, great. Thank you. Will the representative of the Community Development Department please introduce yourself and summarize the matter for us? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi, Vice Mayor Mullins, and council members. I am Karen Chavez Hernandez, Associate Planner with the City of Burbank Community Development Department. May I please have the PowerPoint, please? Thanks. So I am here tonight to present the proposed zone map amendment ordinance and the general plan map amendment resolution that has been initiated by the city to establish general plan land use and zoning designations for portions of Roselli Street that are proposed for annexation into the city of Burbank. I am also joined by outside legal counsel Jennifer Mizrahi from Cole & Huber LLP and Steve Lewis from Lewis Civil Engineering, who have worked with city staff on the project. There are 17 properties located on the even side of the 600 and 700 block of Roselli Street that are bisected by the jurisdictional boundaries of the city of Burbank and the city of Glendale. This results in the rear approximately 50 feet of each of the subject properties being in the city of Glendale, while the majority of each lot of the subject properties is within the city of Burbank. The subject properties front Roselli Street, a city of Burbank street, and therefore have city of Burbank addresses. These properties also receive municipal services from the city of Burbank, including water, electricity, sewer, and solid waste collection services. And here are a couple images of the Roselli Street block and the frontage of the subject properties. The jurisdictional boundary misalignment, in addition to a precinct boundary change implemented during the 2021 redistricting process, has resulted in residents receiving voter ballots for the city of Glendale instead of Burbank. To correct the situation, it was determined that the jurisdictional boundaries would need to be adjusted. To do so, the city of Burbank would annex the portions of the subject properties currently within the city of Glendale, and the city of Glendale would concurrently detach the properties from its jurisdictional boundaries. To adjust the jurisdictional boundaries, referred to as the reorganization, the city of Burbank would need to prepare and submit an application to the Local Agency Formation Commission for the County of Los Angeles, referred to as the LAFCO. Accordingly, the Burbank City Council adopted resolution number 24-29567 in October 2024, which one requested that the LAFCO initiate proceedings for the annexation to the city of Burbank and concurrent detachment from the city of Glendale of portions of the subject properties, and two, directed staff to process any and all documents as necessary. One requirement of the LAFCO application is the submittal of a pre-zoning ordinance, which is a zoning ordinance that preemptively establishes zoning designations for portions of the subject properties proposed for annexation. To be able to submit to the LAFCO the required pre-zoning ordinance, the city needs to preemptively establish a zoning designation and a general planned land use designation for the subject properties. The designation would only take effect upon LAFCO's approval of the reorganization. As such, the city proposes the following amendments. The first is a zone map amendment to amend the City of Burbank zone map as referenced in the Burbank Municipal Code, Section 10-1-302A. This would establish a zoning designation of single-family residential R1 for the portions of the 17 properties that are proposed for annexation into the city. The second is a general plan map amendment to amend the general plan land use map in Exhibit LU-1 of the Burbank 2035 General Plan. This would establish general planned land use designations of low-density residential for the portions of the 17 properties that are proposed for annexation into the city. These two actions would result in designations that are consistent with the existing designations of those portions of the subject properties currently within the city of Burbank and with the existing development pattern on site and in the surrounding neighborhood. This item was presented to the Planning Commission on February 23, 2026, and 2 public comments were received at the meeting, both in support of the project. At the meeting, the commissioners discussed the project's timeframes and the LAFCO's process. After deliberation, the Planning Commission voted 4-0 with 1 absence and recommended to adopt the proposed zone map amendment ordinance and general plan map amendment resolution to the City Council. Staff reviewed the proposed zone map amendment and ordinance and found that it is consistent with the Burbank 2035 General Plan. It ensures consistency with the existing development pattern on site and in the surrounding neighborhood, which is R1, and makes progress towards fulfilling the City Council's request through resolution number 24-29567. Staff also reviewed the proposed general plan map amendment and resolution and found that it is consistent with several of the land use goals and policies in the Burbank 2035 General Plan that pertain to ensuring that development within the Burbank's residential neighborhoods is consistent with the existing neighborhood character. It will also ensure that there are no abrupt changes in density, intensity, scale, and height, since the portions being annexed into the city of Burbank will have the same general plan land use designation as the portions of the lot that are already within the city of Burbank and in the surrounding neighborhood. And it also makes progress towards fulfilling City Council's request through resolution number 24-29567. The proposed zone map amendment ordinance and general plan map amendment resolution have been reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and it is staff's assessment that they are exempt from CEQA. Therefore, it is recommended that the City Council introduce an ordinance for a zone map amendment to establish a zoning designation of single-family residential R1 and adopt a resolution amending the general plan land use map to establish a land use designation of low-density residential for portions of 17 properties located on the 600 and 700 block of Roselli Street that are proposed for annexation into the city of Burbank to pre-zone the 17 properties relating to the same. And find that the zone map amendment ordinance and the general plan map amendment resolution are exempt from CEQA. As part of next steps, if the City Council introduces the zone map amendment ordinance and the general plan map amendment resolution, staff will be back before the Council on May 5th for a second reading and adoption of the zone map amendment ordinance. Subsequent to this, staff will submit a complete LAFCO application for their review and consideration. The LAFCO has an established process for jurisdictional boundary changes, and it includes the submittal of a LAFCO application, LAFCO staff review of the application, LAFCO consideration of the request, at a noticed public hearing, and a decision on the request for jurisdictional boundary changes. From the date the application is submitted, this process typically takes approximately 2 to 3 years to complete. So to help move it forward as efficiently as possible, staff has been working on the LAFCO application and engaging with LAFCO staff as needed to facilitate the process and reduce any unnecessary delays. If the LAFCO approves the reorganization, the portions of the subject properties will be officially annexed into the city of Burbank, and the residents of the subject properties will once again be able to receive city of Burbank ballots. This concludes my presentation. I am available to answer questions relating to the planning process. Jennifer Mizrahi is available to answer questions about the LAFCO process, and Steve Lewis is available to answer questions about the subject properties dimensions. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. We will now open the public hearing to hear from any persons wishing to speak on this matter. Madam City Clerk, do we have any speakers?
We do not.
We do not, okay. There being no public comment, I now declare the public hearing, public comment period closed. And since there was no public comment, there's no staff response to comments. So does council have any questions of staff on this issue? No?
I can make the motion, Madam Mayor, unless you have
I have
questions.
2 quick questions.
Go ahead.
One is May 5th, on the second reading, is that going to be another public hearing, or will that be on consent? Or an item?
That will not be a public hearing item. That will be on consent.
Perfect, okay. And then for the LAFCO representative, it was mentioned it takes 2 to 3 years after the application is submitted to get a LAFCO response. What causes the 2 to 3 year process? Is there anything we can do to make that faster?
So that's a very good question, Madam Mayor. I think I personally have been in communication with LAFCO. It takes a very long time in Los Angeles. Unlike some other applications I've done in San Bernardino and Riverside counties, the process is shorter. I'm not exactly sure why Los Angeles takes so long. It could just be, frankly, because of the size, the people. With respect to what council can do, council can always maybe contact LAFCO, try to push a little bit harder, maybe talk with somebody, maybe people you know. However, in speaking with the LAFCO Executive Director, Paul, he said that the fastest he's ever seen it go through was about 1 year and 4 months, and that was with a lot of political push.
Wow.
So it's unfortunately a long process.
Wow.
I wish I had a better answer for you. I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, thank you for explaining that. It's unfortunate for 17 houses that have been outside of this zone since 2020. So, any further questions, comments?
You just second the motion and let's annex some land.
All right, we have a first from Councilmember Rosati and a second from Councilmember Perez. Can we
Just to
take
be clear, that's a motion to introduce an ordinance of the City Council as described in the staff report and adopt a resolution of the City Council concerning the pre-zoning and general plan designation of the areas to be annexed.
I would have said
it. He was ready. Yes, okay. Thank you for that clarification. Madam City Clerk, could we get the vote, please?
Councilmember Anthony,
Yeah, welcome back, Roselli.
In
Yes.
2 to 3 years.
Councilmember Perez.
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Yes.
And Mayor Takahashi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have 3 reports to council tonight. After staff's presentation, the City Council will proceed with in-person public comment only. Speakers will be allowed to speak on the item at the conclusion of the presentation as long as the speaker has not spoken on that item during the first period of public comment. If you plan to speak on one of the items, please submit your public comment card now, as no public comment cards will be accepted once the comment period commences following the staff's presentation. The first report to council tonight is the introduction of an ordinance amending sections 42113 and 42122 of the Burbank Municipal Code relating to procedures for enrollment upon prior notice in solid waste collection services. I welcome Amber Durand, Recycling Coordinator with the Public Works Department, to please present the report. Welcome.
Great.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council. As stated, my name is Amber Duran, Recycling Coordinator for Burbank's Public Works Department, and I'm here to present on the amendments to Title IV, Chapter 2. Okay. So the City of Burbank is responsible for ensuring compliance with California Senate Bill 1383. That law requires all solid waste service customers, we call them generators under the code, to subscribe to garbage, recycling, and organics collection services. The purpose of the amendment, and the reason I'm here today, is we want to help strengthen our compliance with the state mandate, and also close those compliance gaps at the generator level, which will reduce the need for any fines. This will also be more efficient with our staff's time, and think it's a positive amendment for the city. Under the current process, enrollment in waste collection service is largely voluntary, so there's no mechanism to automatically bring those generators into compliance. So staff must identify the non-subscribed generators. We issue a notice of violation. And then if it's not resolved, it escalates to citations. So this process can take months. Some properties go extended periods generating waste without proper recycling or organic service. And this also contributes to the city's non-compliance exposure under the state law. While staff works diligently to follow up, the enforcement workload also diverts time and energy away from education, outreach, and program improvement. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was going to do that. So with this, we're doing a stepped approach. We would send out a notification letter. And that notification letter would give people 15 days to comply. And if they have not complied, then an automatic enrollment takes place. We'll also coordinate it with the Community Development Department to incorporate education about waste service requirements into the business license application process. New businesses will learn upfront that they need to subscribe to service. On the implementation side, Recycle Center staff will work directly with our authorized collectors to identify generators not yet subscribed. Then we'll initiate those letters, and then we'll track enrollment outcomes. And this builds on our coordinated system that we already have in place with those permitted haulers. Again, that's the process that we'll be taking, where we'll work with those authorized haulers, we'll issue the letter, and eventually eliminate the need to follow up with notice of violation and citations. So the generator will be responsible for the associated service fees for that service level, and the service level that will be initiating for that automatic enrollment will be the minimum service level. So they'll have the smallest service level for recycling and organics. So this automatic enrollment does not eliminate the existing options for generators who have legitimate reasons not to use that standard collection service. So generators may still apply for a waiver if they generate a de minimis amount, which is about 20 gallons a week of organic waste, or if they face physical space constraints that prevent them from accommodating required containers. Generators who prefer to self-haul can also do that. That is a process that we handle at the Recycle Center as well, where the materials are directly taken to the permitted facilities, and then they have to track all of their documents for that in case we have an audit. And there's several benefits to this. We're going to ensure subscription is across the board for Burbank businesses and multifamily. We'll reduce the time businesses and properties remain out of compliance. We're going to lower the risk of the state penalties under SB 1383. And also improve our staff efficiency time, and we're going to shift that time from enforcement to more of the support, and it creates a consistent, predictable compliance framework for everyone. Because we're working within the systems we already have, we don't anticipate an impact on finance or for the budget. And we'll be working with those authorized haulers. So it will be a internal process for us. And again, I just wanted to highlight how the amendment connects to the broader council priorities. This ordinance directly improves how our compliance and enforcement programs operate by reducing the number of notices of violation and citations. We also free up public works resources to focus on that education and coordination with the haulers. Also, SB 1383 being one of California's most significant climate laws, targeting the reduction of methane gas generated by organic waste in landfills. Burbank is committed to meeting those state mandates, and this amendment is a direct, concrete step toward ensuring every generator in the city is part of that solution. And universal participation in organics and recycling service is essential to achieving our climate and diversion goals. This is not a heavy-handed enforcement tool. This approach is phased and cooperative. Businesses get advanced education during the license process, a written notice if they miss enrollment windows, and then the 15 days to voluntary act before the enrollment. So in summary, this amendment strengthens Burbank's solid waste program in a way that is proactive and business-friendly and fully aligned with our sustainability commitments under SB 1383. Staff recommends that the council introduce the proposed ordinance amending BMC Section 42113 and 42122. And I will take any questions if there are any.
Great. Thank you. Do we have, Madam City Clerk, do we have any comments on this item?
We do not.
Okay, then we'll go straight, we'll close the public comment period, and we'll go straight to council questions to staff. Oh, we do have one. I take it back. That's for later. Okay, so we don't have, I will reclose the public comment period for this item.
I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people in the audience who want to speak on this issue.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry for the confusion. Okay, roll it back and reopen public comment. Okay, so as long as we get the right speakers for the right item. Okay. Okay. So I have two comment cards. The first commenter is, Kim Ort, and followed by Joe Nammer, and you have 3 minutes each. So Kim Ort is first. Oh, got it. Okay. So I'll read it when she's done.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. My name is Kim Ort. I'm with WM, previously known as Waste Management. We're no longer Waste Management because we do much more than just the waste. We're sustainability and very involved in the environment and environmental. So I am also a resident of Burbank. So this is important for me on two fronts. By the way, tomorrow is actually Earth Day, so I can't think of a better time for you guys to approve and adopt this. As Amber said, I've received many, many emails from Amber about customers not being in compliant, and unfortunately, there's no teeth in or skin in the game or teeth so this having these amendments will allow us to go through a process to make sure that you guys are compliant with SB 1383 and that you guys do not get hit with the Cal Recycle penalties of $10,000 a day, because it's obviously important for me as a resident that we're not getting hit with that, and that every commercial sector here is compliant. So we highly encourage it, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But again, tomorrow's Earth Day. I know we're celebrating it April 25th, but I encourage everybody to do something good with the environment tomorrow, because we want to keep this environment better than we arrived. I think that's how you say it, but anyway, you get my point. So, and nice to see you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you so much.
And then on this card, it says that the second speaker is in support of the ordinance but does not wish to speak. The second card. All right. Okay, so does staff have any reply to public comment? No. Okay. Then let's. you saw her. I was like, I'm figuring.
I was speaking out loud. I'm sorry. and my mic was on.
It's not even that late yet. All right. So, yes, so now we're moving on to council questions. Does council have any questions of staff? Okay, Vice Mayor.
Okay, I have a couple of questions, or maybe just clarifications. One of them that just was mentioned right now, the $10,000 penalty per day, that is to the city, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's up to 10,000.
Okay. And is that based on the number of businesses or multi-residential units that are enrolled? Or how do they determine it's going to be up to $10,000?
That actually is yet to be seen. So there hasn't been a case of a fine being issued to a city yet.
Okay.
They did one audit so far of a city. So we'll see if they get any citations, but notices of violation will come first and then citations will be followed. And so we don't know what that will look like yet.
So because the second part of this question is, if we get penalized up to the $10,000 per day, are we passing this penalty on to our consumers, our businesses, and what form, and how are we passing it on to them?
That's a great question. I don't know that I would have the answer to how that would look.
Okay.
But I think that
Somebody's coming up here.
Somebody else.
He's like, I know the answer.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, John Molinar, Public Works. Yeah, that would be a pass-through cost, and rates would be affected.
So I think, there is a reason I'm asking this question, because how are we going to determine, do we pass it on to all the businesses, to a specific type of business? Also, part of my question is going to be, can a business file an exemption, for example, because they don't produce
Madam Mayor,
green
if I
waste?
could, we don't regulate our programs with the assumptions that we will get fined. So the city is strictly limited to charging customers for the cost of providing a service.
Okay.
Since 1991 and earlier, the Integrated Waste
Management
Board, I forget if now it's Cal Recycle, with AB 939, which instituted source reduction, recycling, reuse, reduce, recycle. Anyway, every solid waste law that's come down has had a $10,000 per day per violation fine. However, the state has been very understanding in looking at the realities cities have in complying, and there may not have actually been many fines ever levied, but it's the hammer nonetheless. But I would caution you from assuming that violations for noncompliance can automatically be levied against customers, because it's arguable that that's not a cost of providing a service, that's a penalty for noncompliance. So,
Well, thank you for that explanation, because I'm sitting here going, so how are we based on the answers, how are we going to pass this on to the consumers without really knowing who's using it and who's not, or, per business?
right.
How is that
So
gonna
the
be
answer
passed?
is Amber and John have done such a phenomenal job
That
over
we
the
don't get
last
penalized.
years. We have not had to
Okay.
answer that question.
Okay. That's a simple answer and satisfying for us. Are businesses allowed, certain businesses allowed to file an exemption then, so they don't have to necessarily sign up?
Yes, absolutely. So SB 1383 allowed for a exemption process and we wrote it into the original amended code. So we do have a process, and so far we have about 550 businesses that have been approved for that waiver.
For the exemption?
Yeah, for the exemption.
Okay.
Yes. And that's based on mostly de minimis, which is basically 20 gallons or less of organics generated on site every week is what would constitute that. So there are many businesses that have absolutely no organics generation, and they are able to avoid having to have a cart that isn't serving them. Also, there's the option for physical space waivers. So these are temporary, they get reevaluated every couple of years.
Okay, and I'm assuming businesses like office buildings or
That's
the
right.
obvious things that
Automotive and
Yes.
nail salons.
Okay.
And, yeah, these are very clear that we have to remember also organics under the definition of SB 1383 also includes paper and cardboard. So some of them, do go over that generation based on that.
Okay, my last question is, they have the option to pick whatever company that we have permitted to operate in our city. So it's up to them which company they want to go with, correct?
That's right. It makes Burbank very unique that we still have an open permit system, allowing customers to choose who they'd like to. But this also helps with that kind of enforcement where every hauler will be issuing these letters and will be requiring that automatic enrollment. So it will help so that people aren't picking. This has been an issue for a while for our haulers to be able to implement this law because they are afraid of losing customers. And so if it's just the same across the board, then it will help with that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great. Any other questions? No? Great questions. A follow-up question. So if somebody would like to get an exemption and they, how do they know, if they haven't been enrolled, how do they know to do that? Do you send out a notification on that information, or how does that work? Yeah. Well, we've been doing outreach about SB 1383 requirements since we enacted this ordinance, and which is evident in the fact that we've had 530, at least 550 that have applied, and that most of them have been approved for that exemption. So we target outreach through business licensing and through our newsletters and mailings. We've had several ways to do that. And so we know that the outreach is happening there, and we plan to also include it in that enforcement letter, saying if you think that you are eligible for this exemption, then this is how you can go about that process. Okay, great. So it does sound like there is quite a lot of information and education, and this is a process to get everyone up to speed. And you'd want to try to make it as easy as possible for everyone to navigate it. That's right. Okay. Yeah, great. All right. Any other comments, questions? Not, we can entertain a motion.
Ready to make a motion.
Okay.
So I move to amend Burbank Municipal Code Section 4-2-113, solid waste generator requirements, and 4-2-122, hauler license and permit requirements relating to procedures for enrollment upon prior notice in solid waste collection services.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We get a vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Yes.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the second report to council is an update on view obstructing fences in the designated hillside area. I welcome Ryan Allen Esquivel, Assistant Planner with the Community Development Department, to please present the report, or not.
I am not Ryan. He is sick tonight. May I have the presentation, please? So my name is Amanda Landry. I'm a principal planner in the Community Development Department, Planning Division. And tonight we'll be presenting a first step report on view obstructing fences in the hillside. The purpose of this first step report is to respond to the council's direction on requesting analysis of the existing fence standards and the review procedures for fences within the designated hillside area. This presentation will provide the council with additional information regarding the existing hillside fence review process, including the objective standards for fences and walls within the city's existing tools for evaluating privacy and view impacts. The presentation also includes 4 potential regulatory approaches that the council could consider for further analysis. The city has regulated development in the hillside area for more than 40 years. Prior to 2022, a minor or major fence exception permit was required for all fences and walls in the hillside. In 2022, this requirement was removed as part of an effort to streamline the R1 development standards based on the assumption that fences meeting the revised objective standards would not result in significant view impacts. Following this change, the development standards have been applied without significant opposition. However, there has been a case involving a long-standing view-related dispute between 2 neighbors in the hillside, which has prompted the City Council to request this report. The Hillside Development Permit, or HDP process, is the city's primary discretionary tool for addressing potential view impacts. The HDP process involves a conformance review that may require design modification to ensure consistency with the Burbank Municipal Code, including all development standards for view protection related to the topography of the site, height, setbacks, etc. The process also includes a view impact study, which provides for an interactive process where consideration is given to the surrounding neighbors, and a public notification is sent to residents within a 300-foot radius. The HDP process also requires 4 findings to be made in the affirmative before an approval can be issued. Freestanding fences that comply with all applicable development standards are not subject to this process unless grading or retaining walls are included with the project proposal. And this usually takes 8 to 12 months to process. Fences are regulated citywide, including in the hillside area. And to briefly summarize the development standards, for single-family zoned properties, front yard fences may be a maximum of 4 feet in height, with only the lower 2 feet permitted to be solid. Outside the front setback, fences may be up to 8 feet in height. Additional restrictions do apply on corner lots, and applications for these fences are reviewed over the counter and can be typically approved on the same day if all the objective development standards are met at a minimal fee. If it is decided that hillside fences require additional discretion, staff has developed a few options for the council to consider. The first proposed approach would reinstate the minor and major fence exception permits for all fences and walls in the hillside area, which was the process that was in place before 2022. This would enable a full discretionary review for all fences and walls and would effectively respond to resident concerns. However, this would introduce an estimated 6-month review time with additional costs. A second approach would be to create a modified hillside development permit process that would apply to all fences and walls within the hillside area, regardless of their size or design. And this approach would allow for a comprehensive review of the hillside view and other privacy impacts, but it would apply to all hillside fences. This would result in a large volume of applications and delayed processing times, and again, they would probably take 6 to 8 months to process. Approach number 3 would be to create a modified hillside development permit process, but kind of narrow the scope of applicability so that it would only apply to the fences or walls that are likely to have the most impact on views. And this would most likely be established as fences or walls over 5 feet in height. And we would build in some exceptions. So if the fence or wall had an open design above 5 feet in height, pending approval from staff that it was open design, it could be exempted from that process. This targeted approach focuses again only on the fences most likely to result in a view impact and would apply to fewer projects than in option number 2. This would still allow for discretion over fences which are most likely to have an impact on views while maintaining the existing streamlined approach for the majority of the other fences in the hillside area. These applications would probably take around 6 months to process. And then approach number 4 would be to maintain the existing objective development standards in the Burbank Municipal Code and the current review procedures for fences and walls. And this would, again, avoid any increase in review time or costs, but it wouldn't provide a public process for evaluating the view impacts beyond whatever is already inherent in the Burbank Municipal Code. Because the existing regulations have been effective, aside from a few isolated cases, staff recommends that the City Council maintain the existing standards and procedures for fences in the hillside. However, if Council directs staff to pursue any other regulatory option, staff will return with a second step report for additional analysis. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. All right. Madam City Clerk, do we have any commenters on this item?
We do not.
Okay. Being no comments, I declare the public comment period closed. Excuse me, in the middle of taking a bite. Sorry. Does council have any questions for staff? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
I want to ask on page 6, what slide is that? 3, 4, 5. Slide 5, sorry. Slide 5, it shows an open design fence. That's for all fences citywide, that front fences cannot be higher than 5 feet.
Yeah.
And the top 3 feet have to be open design, like see-through.
Correct. That's the standard in the municipal code.
But currently, backyard fences can go up to 8 feet solid.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Yes, Councilmember Rosati.
So you had mentioned that there's been a few people. When you say few, is it one? Is it one person, one dispute, or is it like 2 or 3 or 4?
Good evening, Scott Planback, Planning Manager. I can answer that. As a matter of fact, I talked to code enforcement today. We've had the dispute that Principal Planner Landry mentioned. Other than that, in talking with code enforcement, we haven't received any fence complaints between neighbors. The fence complaints we tend to receive in the hillside tend to be fences that were built without permits, and then they have to come back in and get a permit for us because maybe they did some grading. But in essence, we haven't received complaints from neighbors for someone installing a fence in the hillside.
So it's only people that have not pulled a permit that are the issue.
Yes, and then we work with them to bring them into compliance if that happens.
So the code, as we have it, is working.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Councilmember Perez?
I don't have questions, but since it's my item, I'm happy to share a little bit of why I brought it forward. Councilor Rosati, to the point that you bring up, Mr. and Mrs. Carraz did come to us, oh my gosh, like a year and a half ago to the podium, and with support of some of their neighbors, they were talking about the fact that their view was obstructed by a fence that their neighbor built, and that the current code didn't allow for them to really say anything about this issue. And so I sat with them, I heard from them, I heard from other neighbors who are concerned about the change in the ordinance, and I wanted to bring it up to council to see if it was something we wanted to discuss. I know the same appetite maybe is not there as it was that night. Again, I requested this, like, what does the staff report say? February 4th, 2025, over a year ago? So, you know, that's just kind of the background, because I know it may feel to my colleagues that it feels a little out of nowhere tonight, but that's where it came from. It was a concern, and although there haven't been complaints to staff about actually built fences, the concerns that I heard were from their neighbors saying, well, what if it happens to me? What if I'm next? Can we have some kind of protection protecting our view on the hillside? And I really heard them out, so I thought I'd bring it to the body to see if we had any thoughts on that.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
And thank you for that explanation, but also I want to concur with staff that I know I personally had received emails and phone calls from individuals up in the hills where they complained about their neighbors building a fence, and when they looked into it, it was an illegal, I mean, they were not permitted for it. And once the city takes the proper action to address the issue, then the problem went away. They might have not been happy because they've already built the fence, but in most cases, those individuals are going to take it upon themselves to build the fence without looking at our current requirement. Those are the ones that are going to run into problems from their neighbors. So I feel the same. It's like, how many cases? That was going to be my question. How many cases have we had? And I know there's more probably violation of building without the permit than actual cases with a permit and somebody coming in. But if our current system is working, you know, I'm personally okay with leaving as it is. But if we find something, like all of a sudden we're getting a lot of complaints and they're taking permits, that is something we can definitely bring back for further discussion, because something has happened and we need to address it again. But as it is, I'm personally fine with it, because I know the ones that were in violation, they have not taken a permit. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
I appreciate that this particular issue came up because there was one dispute between neighbors of a permitted fence, and a lot of the issues that we're dealing with code enforcement is, like you said, illegal or non-permitted fencing. I personally, if we were to address this issue, I wouldn't want to go back to a permitting process. I think that is arduous, and like they say, it's going to increase time. But to Councilmember Perez's point, there may be individuals who are worried about their view in the future. I'd like to propose something very simple, and to just simply adjust the standards, the building standards, objective design standards. One, we in the front yard already have a limitation on how visible and see-through the fences are. I'd like to propose that on the hillside, and only on the hillside, that if you want to build a fence on the edge of your property line at the top of wherever the gradient is, you can only do up to 5 feet of solid fence, and then the other 3 feet has to be open. I think that might allow the neighbors to maintain their view. And then alternatively, I think there's an option where we could say, okay, if you build the fence a little bit lower down the hillside, you can get the full solid 8 feet. And I think there's an opportunity for us to simply put in direct guideline in the code, so there's no permit, it's not subjective, nobody has to go out there and measure it. You submit the design, it's permitted, and you've got 2 options. Do you want the full fence? Great. Well, it's got to come down a little bit so you're not obstructing the view. If you want to go all the way to the property line, it's got to be open on the top. I think that might help us to prevent anything like this happening in the future. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes, Councilmember Rosati.
I'm in agreement with if you build it further down, you go as high as you want, whatever the code is. I'm trying to understand. So are you talking about someone that has a property up here, the property down here, and this guy owns all the hillside, and he's building it at the very top? Can we ask Mr. Prescott or Mr. Ramirez, in practicality, how would that work if we did 5 feet and then the rest of it open? Is that practical? Because it keeps animals out, I get that, if it's solid for 5 feet.
Yeah. Fred Ramirez, Assistant Director in Planning. The options that Ms. Landry proposed, I think the option 3 is kind of moving towards that. So I guess the real question is, do you want to maintain the status quo, which is kind of what staff's recommending, or do you want to look at these other options? Because the one suggestion I would make, and you guys have at least allowed this to occur, is if we are going to consider changes to the code, I would suggest, and you've done it in the past, is that we do have that public engagement and the discussion, because there's a lot of variables, like how far downslope would you allow a solid fence to occur? Some people do not want to look downslope to see a solid fence, and that might be an issue. Alternatively, is it like there's different configurations of the lots up in the hillsides, and someone's rear yard is someone's side yard, so who gets the prioritization? So I'm saying if you are considering these options, then I think we need to get some direction to weigh these options with the benefit of getting public
And that's why I
input.
was saying, how practical is it? And we'll spend another 2 years with the public engagement, and it's a lot.
Well, it's
And
not
I think
citywide, I mean.
If I may, Mayor, just, I know Amanda wanted to chime in, so maybe just, it might help
Okay.
with the discussion.
Yeah.
We could consider that option. We would have to study the hillside because all of the properties in the hillside are wildly varying from each other. There's a lot of different configurations of the lots, dimensions, sizes, shapes, to really understand what the impact of that regulation would be. So we'd have to do that research for you.
If I may, one last thing to put out there is, you all have given us direction in the past as part of our work program to look at our R1 standards and make some refinements in the future to kind of make things more streamlined and to review. To the point that we've heard, we've had one incident over this period. If, to the point you guys are making, you see or we start seeing that this is becoming an issue, what I would suggest is when Amanda's team, Ms. Landry's team comes back with the discussion on R1, we could have that robust discussion, not only with you, but with the community when we look at those R1 standards. So that's the only thing I'm always cautious about, and it's within your purview, but I'm always cautious about trying to make zoning code amendment decisions on the fly, because what we don't have here, and we don't have an opportunity, and I know you guys push us to do this, is to have a community meeting to discuss it. So that's the only reason.
Can I ask just one more question?
Okay.
What is the city's authority when changing zoning codes to go back and not grandfather in certain things? Because here's my issue. If we don't take it up now and something happens in the future, typically what we do is we do the zone text amendment, we change it, takes a year and a half, and then we grandfather everything in that's already happened. Do we have authority to go back and say, okay, we've had a bunch of fences that got put up, we're going to change it, and we're going to go back and say, sorry, guys, you got to bring the fence down? Like, is that even?
I can chime in, but then I'll let Amanda. If someone, right now, the way the code is, if they build it to code, building code, there is no additional permit to receive. They get ministerial approval of that fence. So they're not non-conforming, they're in compliance with the code. If you decide at some point in the future to alter the code, then any new proposals coming in post that approval, those are going to be reviewed in it. There's no
but what happens
clawback
to the ones?
those are at this point, they're considered by right permitted fences that are up there.
And mind you, the Cossacks understood that, and I explained that to them, and that's why I ended up agendizing it, because with their neighbors, they're like, well, what if it happens to the next person? Which I understood. I understood their point at the time. What I will say right now is we have not seen that, and it has been a year. So I understand if that appetite isn't there right now, and I appreciate from Mr. Ramirez that we will have another opportunity. So let's say if somebody is watching this meeting tonight and is thinking, wait, I do have a concern, there is another opportunity down the road when we talk about the R1 zoning, and I'm comfortable with that.
Vice Mayor, and then. Councilmember.
I wanted to understand something you said earlier regarding the permit. And I want to make sure I heard you correct because maybe I didn't understand. Did you say then they don't have to get it permitted?
I would like, well, no. They would
Okay.
have to get it permitted, but
Uh-huh.
they don't need a separate permit for the fence. I want to make it part of the design standards in the hillside. So if you're building in the hillside in that zone, the way you build fences have a little bit different rules than the rest of the city.
Yes.
And that way you don't have to apply for an additional permit, which wastes more staff time. I
But-
want it,
So, okay, for those are new development, for example. But if you have an existing house that they want to put a fence, they do have to get a permit.
well, yes, you,
Oh, okay.
yes, you have to get that permitted.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, wait, because I would never agree not to have a fence permit, especially
No,
on
that's
the
not what I meant.
hills.
I mean a
because-
separate fencing permit.
Okay.
That's on its own, has its own review, has its own appeal. No, if it's, I wanted.
Well,
Let me be
Yeah.
clear, there are many circumstances for which no permit is required.
to build a fence?
Correct.
And so somebody can build a fence in their backyard and they don't need to come to us?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Under 6 feet in height, you don't need a building permit, but you do need to get zoning verification that it complies with the zoning code.
Is that only up in the hillside or
Citywide.
anywhere in the city?
Anywhere in the city.
So somebody can just put a fence in their backyard and they don't have to come to the city to get a permit?
If it's under 6 feet in height, they don't need a building permit, but they do need to get zoning verification that they're compliant with our code.
Okay. They have to come to us for something because I could see a whole bunch of fences going up in the backyards. Yeah, that's because there's people that drive around, look at fences and report them in. So, okay, I wanted to make sure I understood you correctly. New development versus existing. Okay.
So just for a little bit of context, this fence ordinance in its current genesis, it started with a fence that was cited. Actually, I think it was hedges that were cited because hedges can form a wall and block views and create safety visual sightline issues. Started with a citation and the citee turning in a list of 500 neighbors whose fences built prior to the violation also didn't conform. So we had 500 open code enforcement cases. We did not have resources to address those. And the code was amended, I think, 4 to 6 times to get where it is today. So, and if you're talking about, if views are the motivation, what is a view is very subjective, as staff indicated. And we have people in this community with 2-story homes that have neighbors with 1-story homes that are allowed to go to 2-story homes. But if the neighbors exercise the same development rights that exist in the code to go to 2-story homes, that has resulted in appeals because they're ruining a view. And so you're always balancing a property right, which may be equal but not yet realized on a neighbor's property, and it results in cases that Mr. Rosati had seen over a dozen years, which resulted in some cases 18 to 24-month permit processing times for what are now relatively simple single-family development permits. So you're allowed to regulate in these areas to reinforce Mr. Ramirez's answer. Historically, the city has not required initially legal but subsequently non-conforming structures to automatically comply. There's always been a threshold of new change or renovation, like past 50% or whatever it is, that triggers the upgrade. But this city has not amortized out, in other words, put a deadline on someone coming back up to code. So that's just historically how things have been handled.
Did you have any more comments, questions?
No, I think 9 times out of 10, if you were my neighbor, you would come over, we would discuss it. You'd take me to Capitol Grill, you'd buy me dinner, and we'd let you build the fence. So,
Oh, if it only
but
worked
we
that
talk
way.
about it. You know?
99 out of 100. 99 out of 100.
So that's kind of how it usually works. The neighbors kind of
Right, no,
they
right?
talk about it and say, "This is what works for me. Can you do this?" And then this just happens to be one case where.
And I have a sneaking suspicion, and I don't have proof to the fact, but there's a what some might call a spite fence, where this may be a previous dispute that has resulted in this, and so if staff sees something else, if more and more people are talking about this, then we can have this discussion again. But
We will be getting them here in the council meeting, completing or receiving emails.
And that's why I share, I'm comfortable leaving it as is. And when we come to that moment that we're reviewing the R1 zones, we can talk about that. I think that'll be a great opportunity for folks if they have concerns, if they've been really secretly holding on to their neighbor's fence that's obstructing their view, come on down at that point, and then we can talk about it again. And for what it's worth, if this does become an issue again and somebody does bring it up, I like the idea of option 3 that staff has proposed, because that is a lot less burden on our staff. So.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah, this specific case that brought us here, it sounds like, based on the information we have, that it was an edge case, that it was not something that's a standard issue that happens regularly, that it's a particular situation. That's not to say that that couldn't happen again, and maybe now that we have this conversation, it may spark some folks to discuss it in the hillside and then come back to us, we'll see. But I think that it seems that the concerns with fences have been about either being illegal or not properly permitted or not properly in compliance. So if that continues to be the case, and steady as we go. But if it turns out that there starts to be more cases, even if it's just a handful, but there's more cases of folks with the obstructed view concerns. And to your point earlier, is that the hillside is so different depending on where you live on the hillside. So having a standard across the entire hillside is a little bit tough to come up with, but you got to do your best. And if it does end up in the future that we come back, just kind of keep a note that also can we look at, you don't have to do it now, but if it comes back and we're looking at just what maybe other cities at hillsides have done, so then that might be information at the time moving forward that might be helpful too, and how they've navigated it. But I don't think we're going to need that, sounds like.
No, and I appreciate council taking a look. I like to think about a balanced approach here, and being that I am not a member of the hillside, I thought I'd do something for my neighbors on the other side of town when they brought a concern to me. So if you're out there and those concerns exist, there will be another moment to review this. And the moral of this story is that you owe all of us Capitol Grill.
Yes. Or we can move next door to Councilmember Rosati and build a fence. It'll take us out of town. All right, well, thank you for all that. So do you need direction? Don't need anything, an informal vote, right? Okay, since we're not changing anything. Great, thank you. All right, we are like 5 minutes behind schedule, which is not that much, so we're going to keep going. The final report to council this evening is an update on the wireless telecommunication facility standards and recommendations. I welcome Sarah Jergali. Is that how you pronounce her name? Ms. Jergali? Jergali.
Yes.
Assistant Planner with the Community Development Department, to please present your report. Is this your first time presenting to us?
It is. Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for staying so late, and welcome to your first time.
Thank you. Yeah. So, again, my name is Sarah Durgali. I'm an Assistant Planner with CDD Planning Division. Can I get the PowerPoint slides up? Oh, thank you. Okay. So on October 29th, 2024, the City Council heard an appeal for a rooftop wireless facility at 800 South Main Street. During the hearing, the council received significant public comment related to perceived health impacts and the adequacy of the city's regulations on wireless facilities. Council ultimately denied the appeal and directed staff to prepare a broader review of the city standards. So tonight I will be presenting an overview of the local and federal regulations for wireless telecommunication facilities, and describe the ongoing analysis the city is currently undertaking to ensure our regulations are consistent with the federal requirements. Okay. Wireless facilities are primarily regulated by the FCC. Cities have limited authority and can regulate zoning, placement, aesthetics to an extent, but cannot prohibit service or regulate radio frequency emissions. The FCC also requires applications to be processed within very strict timelines called shot clocks. In short, while the city can influence where and how facilities are designed to an extent, federal law significantly limits broader control. Initially, at one point, cities did have control over wireless facility siting and design. However, inconsistent local regulations created delays in network expansion. In response to that, the FCC established rules to streamline deployment and limit local review in effort to support faster, more reliable wireless servicing nationwide. So the city first adopted wireless facility standards in 1966 and has since updated it several times to stay aligned with changing laws. These updates attempted to balance community concerns, especially related to visual and perceived health impacts with federal requirements in place. A key challenge in addressing those concerns is that federal rules limit both the city's review authority and the time available for cities to process applications. This can sometimes create unrealistic expectations across the public about what the city can regulate, particularly regarding those health concerns, which again are outside of the local control. So the city continues to refine its processes to stay compliant and improve efficiency. For example, staff recently completed specialized training and identified areas where updates to our municipal code may be needed. To support this effort, the city also retained Best and Krieger, who are currently conducting a comprehensive legal analysis of our code and procedures. This work will focus on maintaining compliance and improving processing timelines and addressing the community concerns where possible under the federal regulations. Staff is also coordinating with federal lobbyists and updating internal procedures to ensure the city can continue to meet those FCC requirements. That all being said, staff plans to return to council with findings and recommendations following the analysis completed by BBK. That concludes my presentation, and I am available if you have any questions.
Great job. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, do we have any comments on this item?
We do not.
Okay. Moving on to council questions. Anyone have questions? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
Well done on your first presentation. I can't help but notice you didn't use the acronym once, so that's fun. There's not a lot we can do here. They give us sort of what the regulations and the rules are, and we kind of just got to adopt it. That's what I'm getting from this.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I kind of want to use the acronym right now for that, but that's fine.
Hey, it's on the paper. It's on the paper.
I got a kick out of hearing the city manager use the acronym today.
Yes.
If I could, sorry, I promise not to prolong this item. The city has done a lot. These amendments that Ms. Dergali went over, we have over the years maximized all of our authority to incentivize installations in commercial zones and incentivize aesthetic installations, shrouded installations, this work effort with Best and Krieger, who has one of the strongest telecom groups, frankly, in the country, is an effort to, again, make sure that we're on the right side of the law, because the telecom industry goes to Washington with a laundry list about every 2 years of cities that truly do not comply with the Telecommunications Act. And this is an effort not only to bring a new generation of planners. I think Amanda and I worked on these her first time here in Burbank. The city council has repeatedly gone over these regulations to make sure that the council is maximizing its lawful authority to protect the community where possible. The city council requires that the telecom companies provide their regulated emissions reports. The city conducts pre-activation testing and post-activation testing to make sure that the facilities are operating within the limits that are put on them, that there aren't. So there are a great many things that the city does do, and our discretion does, though, remain narrow, and there are continued efforts to narrow the amount of the city's discretion. So I look forward to what staff brings back for the council's consideration.
All right, Councilmember Perez first, and then Councilmember Berzati.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to thank you for putting this together, because although I think this council may not have a lot of comments and feedback, it's because we've been through the bend of this, but it is the document we're going to use when we have questions from residents asking us why this is happening, what can we do about it. This is what we're going to rely on. So we're incredibly grateful for you putting it together, because the moment will come when folks do ask, and then we'll send them to the feds. So thank you.
Councilmember Rosati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What incentives are we doing to, what are we doing to incentivize them to put them in other locations that might not be sensitive?
So I think it would be helpful if the planners went over what the requirements are.
I'll go for it. So one of the biggest incentives we have is the discretionary review process. So we try to incentivize the placement of wireless telecommunications facilities in areas that we would like them, which are typically the commercial industrial areas, by having the least burdensome discretionary review, which is either by right or an AUP. And as it gets closer to areas in the city that we've identified as needing some more attention, the discretionary review requirement goes up to a CUP, a conditional use permit.
And how many times a year do you see this?
We receive many by right applications. I don't have an exact number, sorry, but we do receive only a handful of the discretionary reviews for AUPs and CUPs. So,
got it.
Another example is that there were FCC proceedings back in, I want to say 19, but it was 2018, 2019, compelling cities, seeking to compel us to allow installations on all of our vertical infrastructure. Think building tops, all public vertical infrastructure, light poles, street lights. And so the city council approved in 2019 a master siting agreement where AT&T, Verizon, Extenet, Crown Castle all entered into master siting agreements where they work with BWP. We have maximum number of poles per block. We make them file a plan, but we make it easier for them to go in commercial districts on street light poles for small cell deployments. Think 5G, 5G plus, where they, the old sites, the one in slide number 2, these type of sites are well, there's actually some microwave on here too, but the larger sites that you kind of come to your mind along the side of the freeway, the bigger sites are for lower band or older technology, which can propagate over longer distances. 5G, 5G plus, they propagate over very short distances. They need antennas potentially every block. And so one of the incentives is that we have them work with BWP and keep them in the commercial districts.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
So, my question is, with our community, expecting additional housing and building more housing in Burbank, there is obviously going to be greater need to expand the Wi-Fi service, and the only way they can do it is add more of these towers to be able to withstand the amount of demand that we have for usage. Because I think in most of our cases, we all struggle even at home with streaming, downloading, and ATT, and they have fiber optics, and I don't know if Spectrum has that or not. But how do we control? Well, I know we can't control it because they tell us where they should go. But how do we kind of manage the demand that we have and the expansion that we're going to go through, and how many cells or these kind of towers are we going to install, and where do we put them?
So one thing I also wanted to point out that addresses your question, and also as an incentive for where we would like to have these facilities, is that we allow co-location by right. So it's where these facilities are already located. So we're not introducing new locations into the city, just tagging along onto existing facilities. And that is a major incentive as well for wireless carriers. It's easier for them to get that service up at those locations.
So they can actually add more equipment to the current location, and is there room for expansions on some of these locations, or are they just making the equipment bigger to be able to accommodate the amount of service that they require?
Good question. In most cases, wireless facilities are being permitted through modifications, as Amanda said, called co-locations or eligible facility requests, which are essentially being permitted by right based off of the federal regulations. And that's also helping the demand or keeping up with the demand, and why they're maybe becoming so visible in the right of way. But on private property, that's essentially what we're seeing the most of, if that helps.
That they're installing more equipment on private property?
It's mainly upgrading the equipment that's there and occasionally adding a few new antennas or dishes. The technology has evolved significantly over time, so they're not as giant, as Mr. City Attorney pointed out on slide number 2. They're no longer looking like that. They're a lot more discreet.
Okay. And are we allowing, maybe it's not up to us, but new companies to come in and install? Like there's...
We cannot regulate the companies that come in. It's interstate commerce, which we can't regulate at the local level.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, this was a tough conversation when it came to council before. Yeah, and I appreciate your bringing this back and reviewing it and sharing this. And the report to Councilmember Perez's point that now is documented, so we have it available in case folks ask. And I also appreciate your keeping a continued eye on it and returning to council with findings from the BBK analysis. And I just want to say that I appreciate staff completing specialized WTF training. There we go. I said it for you. You missed it, Councilmember Anthony. You heard it? Okay. Because I think that's a cool thing to have on your resume. I completed specialized WTF training.
Okay, that was fine.
Okay, had to, it's late. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for keeping us updated. I'm sure there will probably be more things, more regulations or more rules we learn. And I'm glad that we're not on the list of the cities that are not complying, so that we do not get fined or any other problems with that. So, okay, so this is just a note and file, right? Okay, then that's the end. Thank you for everything. Moving on. next up is council comments, including reporting on council committee assignments, attendance at conferences and regional meetings and community events. And I have been requested by Councilmember Perez to go first so she can run off and do her
Thank you.
mommy duties.
I need to pump, so I gotta go. But I will go first. All right, so Wednesday, April 8th, I attended the Affordable Housing Subcommittee meeting with the mayor to hear about the study session item we heard tonight. On Saturday, April 11th, I attended Essencia's 18th annual gala. It was great. On Tuesday, April 13th, I attended the bookmobile ribbon cutting with Councilmember Rosati and the mayor. It was very, very nice and really like all around heartwarming. On Thursday, April 16th, I attended a special closed session with all of you. And on Saturday, April 18th, I shared some words at the ANCA Armenian Genocide Commemoration, very important event that we hold every year, and grateful that we were able to hold that here on the steps of City Hall, vote on the memorial today, and also recognize them with a proclamation as we do every year. So that is all for me.
All right.
Thank you so much, and thank you all. Apologies for leaving a little early.
Yes.
Thank you.
Off your pop. All right. Next, who would like to go next? Councilmember Anthony?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 11th, Saturday, I attended with, you were there, Madam Mayor, the Armenian Genocide Transgenerational Effects and Healing. That was a great program. 8th annual. They do that every year, and it's very important. On Wednesday the 15th, in your stead, I presented the World Pakao Martial Arts 10th anniversary with a certificate. That was a ribbon cutting for their 10th anniversary, and I learned a little bit about that particular martial arts studio. They are only allowed to open a new studio if a black belt from a prior studio gets permission from their sensei to open up the new place. So you can't just go off and open a studio. You have to get permission from your specific sensei. So that's interesting. World Pakao. And then I attended the ANCA Presents the Armenian Genocide Commemoration. There was a flower laying ceremony, and that was on Saturday. And then almost immediately after that, I was over at the Burbank Historical Society Museum, and Tess Doty achieved her Gold Award for Girl Scouts. That is the highest award. She is actually a docent at the museum there in Olive Park, and she has a number of exhibits that she put together for Girl Scout history in Burbank, and continues to volunteer there and serve back her community. So that was fun.
Thank you. Who would like to go next? Councilmember Rosati?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. On Wednesday the 8th, I attended the Rise of Burbank graduation. I was the keynote speaker. That was a lot of fun getting to meet all the people that graduated. That night I went to the Park and Rec Board meeting. On Saturday the 11th, I went to the town hall for the Central Library and just got to see the participation of folks that are really excited about it. And then later that afternoon, I attended the first annual Chamber Chili Cook-Off. And man, they knocked it out of the park. They did such a great job, and I love a lot of community events like that, and it's just the participation, and it was really great. It was a lot of people, well attended. And then on the 14th with you all, I went to the bookmobile ribbon cutting, and that was also really fun to see everyone excited and got to participate in the mayor's dance video thing, whatever that was. Shh. Oh, okay, sorry. I refused, but I just did this. So. And then on Wednesday, is that a secret?
Kinda.
I guess so. All right. Sorry. On the 15th, I attended the police commission meeting. It was very enlightening. They had a very robust conversation and presentation on flock cameras. I think a lot of people left that meeting with a different understanding as what our cameras do. And then on the 16th, I met with the juniors from Providence High School, and that was also a lot of fun talking to them and hearing their questions. And then I attended the closed session meeting on SB 79, and that was it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Vice Mayor?
Okay, on the 11th, I was at the chili cook-off, and I got the pleasure to taste about 10 different chili recipes. So I was one of the judges. That was definitely a lot of fun, just, trying all the chilies and having a say to who won number one. Story Tavern, by the way. A lot of people said, well, who won? Yes, very well attended. The public was very engaging, happy, and I think I see it coming back again. We have our wrap-up meeting tomorrow, so we'll know what's coming next. And then attended the closed session meeting and yesterday had a couple of meetings with community members, and that was it.
All right, buckle in, y'all. All right, so on Wednesday, April 8th, I went over to the airport with past mayor and current airport authority member Emily Gable-Luddy, and had a visit with the TSA folks and thanking them for working while they were not being paid for a whole month, and really appreciated their doing that. They I met with at the shift change, so I was able to meet with both the morning shift leaving and the evening shift coming in, and so that was good. I think they appreciated it. I think at this point now they are getting paid through different funding mechanisms, so
Thank
they're
you for doing
hardworking
that.
hard. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. They do a great job there, by the way. And then I will confirm that tomorrow morning when I go there at 6:30 for a flight tomorrow morning. And then later in the afternoon, I was with Councilmember Perez, attended Affordable Housing Subcommittee, talking about the presentation tonight. On the 9th, I attended the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission, and then after that, attended the SCAG Joint Policy Committee meeting. And then in that evening, I attended the Parks Board meeting and presented a certificate to Michael Furman, who is a resident who's been cleaning our parks on his own in between the city schedule. And he brought his little trash picker upper thingy with him, and his kids had one, and he took a picture. It was really cute. So it was really nice. His family was there. And then that same night, the RISE program had a presentation at the park board too, so that was nice. I wasn't able to go to their actual graduation, so it was nice to be able to see them at the park board as well. So thank you for going there and supporting them.
They played your video.
Oh, they did? Great, good. And then on the 10th, in the morning, I went to the Jocelyn Center and did a dress rehearsal of the Milestones of Freedom for the Burbank Community Band, where I read the Declaration of Independence. That was super fun. No, they asked me to sing, and I said, seriously, you really don't want to ask me to do that?
Did you read the whole thing?
No, just 2 passages.
Oh, okay.
It would have been taking a while.
It's pretty long.
Yeah. And then Saturday, April 11th was epic. And I did, in the morning, at 8 o'clock, I went to Pasadena, Glendale. Where was I? I remember now. And did opening remarks amongst other electeds from Pasadena and Glendale for the Women's Fire Academy. And that was great. It's first time we've participated in that. And then after that, I swung by the Home Again LA Community Resource Fair. And then after that, I went to the 8th Annual Armenian Genocide Transgenerational Effects and Healing Symposium. And then after that, I went to the actual performance of the Burbank Community Band concert and did my narrating of the Declaration of Independence while you guys were enjoying your chili. So I was a little jealous. I couldn't be 2 places at once, but that was super fun. Full house at Dolores Huerta Middle School. And the other performances were amazing. And then after that, I went to, at the Burbank Chamber, I went to a book launch for 2 middle schoolers who wrote a book about the experience of being in middle school. It was so cool. They had like 50 people there celebrating them. I was able to give them a cert. Then on the 13th, Monday, April 13th, I did a ribbon cutting for a new restaurant called the Patty Stop, which is kind of like Southern style empanadas. It's over by Costco, across the street from Costco, in that little shopping center right there with the McDonald's on Victory and Victory. Really good. Then on the 14th, I did the bookmobile ribbon cutting ceremony. And then that morning, I actually went over to Lila, the international school on Riverside, and did a tour of the campus and talked with the students there and did an interview. And I spoke to them in French. And I told them that I'm probably the first council member who's ever spoken French. And they were like, what? They were so excited. They're like, you speak French? Vous parlez français? C'est pas possible. Pas possible. It was pretty cool. And then on the 16th, I went to the Burbank Chamber of Commerce monthly board meeting. And then earlier today, I attended the National League of Cities Human Development Advocacy Committee meeting that I'm a member of. And we talked about mainly federal regulation around AI. Whew. I'm exhausted just reading my own schedule there. How did I make it to this day? Okay. Now is the time for introduction of additional agenda items. Do members of the council have any items to introduce? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I want to introduce an item regarding the TOT measure or TOT subject that came up during public discussion to be brought back to get clarifications on what the protocol and the expectation of this council for what just took place. Is that clear enough?
For the TOT measure
Or
specifically?
for the, no,
So it
for,
sounds like a discussion of your code of conduct?
Code of conduct, yeah. It's regarding the public comment that we
Would
had
include
tonight.
any proposed ballot measures from the city.
Or any proposed ballot measures.
Okay.
And council's involvement, individual involvement. It's based on what we heard tonight.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. If there's nothing else, then now we adjourn the meeting to Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 for a joint meeting in the council chamber, 275 East Olive Avenue, second floor. Thank you and good night.